That's probably your virus.
And we're live.
Well, oh, hey, we're still alive. I was just saying, does it sound like I have a cold? In my head, it sounds like I have a cold, and I don't.
You have a cold.
But I definitely have some stuffed up sinus things. And part of that, I mean, I think it's because I've had your disease thing. Apparently.
had the China virus.
Not that I knew. But also the change in seasons. We are in now the second full day of fall. Cooler, low humidity. I mean, the difference is stunning. And I have my whole life I've tended to have ear problems during the change of seasons for some reason.
Just wait. Thursday, we got the hurricane remnant coming.
Yeah,
through,
here we go. Yeah, it's going to hit Florida pretty good, I guess, probably.
And us. We're going to get some rain,
and we'll
probably.
we'll get some badness. Let's see. All right, we got a billion things. Anyway, how you doing? Sorry, it's only me. It's only the Kimmer, the Kimmer Show podcast.
I don't know what it is, if it's this view or
What?
the shirt, but in my view of Pete's camera, you look huge.
Who, me?
Yeah, it's the shirt. It's the shirt.
Big.
I mean,
Billowing.
And I am huge.
Pete Davis, sidekick producer and sports raconteur extraordinaire.
I can't even get this thing to work. So.
Excuse me? You can't quite see it. And Flounder, of course, a mechanical mangler here at El Condo Flounder, with Kitty Cat is resting in his house, in his apartment.
Sure.
But
I don't
Flounder,
think there's a cat.
Well, Flounder says that he has been roaming around. I mean, he should be roaming around more than I got to say, I've had cats my whole life, and I've never heard of one who has never been seen in a week or whatever. I mean, does he actually? I mean, does he roam around and? I mean,
oh yeah.
no
The problem is,
you're not
when
locking them in, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is when I leave, I have to keep them in my room in the closet.
Yeah.
Because,
well, that's fine. That's fine.
because of the amount of cords and lamps and stuff. My house isn't cat proofed yet.
Right. But when you're
But
home,
when I'm
he
home,
he should be all over
when
the
I'm
place.
home, I started doing it yesterday, where I keep this door closed, but everything else in the house is open.
Yeah.
And he started getting.
He's got to get out to learn.
Yeah, he's just scared because it's so big.
Right.
So, but today and yesterday he's really curious now. He was definitely out in the living room and the dining
Well,
room
that's a
right
good
there.
sign. Okay. As a a cat lover, and I've had pets for God 10 of them. We used to have 2 German shepherds, canaries. We had rabbits for a while out in the backyard. At least
We always had
Cats.
dogs.
Huh?
So we always had dogs.
Yeah. Well, cats are. I mean, but again, you'll be fine. And now, have you thought about getting a second one? They say, especially when you're gone.
No, because he entertains himself. He's pretty chill. I mean, he doesn't destroy anything. He's definitely curious, but he doesn't.
Well, I could tell you, probably every cat lover is going to say you need to get a second cat.
Yeah,
Okay?
when I posted the first picture, there was like all the.
Yeah, well, it really is something to think about. I know you're,
Now, if I was
you're not in that comfort zone, so you wouldn't know that. But I'm telling you, I mean, every instance I've known personally, or anybody who has 2 cats, love it because they take care of themselves and whatever. Anyway, just a thought. I'm not trying to tell you what. I'm sorry. I'm playing Budinsky again. It's like that commercial. You'll always be your parents when all is said and done. You're your father. Sorry, I'm older than your father. That's a scary freaking thought, by the way. Anyway, oh God, it's so.
Remind me never to wear red again.
What, you look at yourself now?
I told you.
I do. I look like I'm 50 pounds overweight.
But I mean, if I look,
It's the same.
I don't know what
I
it is.
haven't gained any weight since Friday. I don't understand this. What the hell?
It's literally the camera or something, because when I turn and look at you, you look fine, but
Yeah, what camera's adding like 50 pounds?
who's the coach for the Chiefs?
Andy Reid.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Excuse me.
only because he's always wearing red.
Wow. In fact, and it really is true. The camera does add weight, but this is a whole different
this
thing.
is
But when
unbelievable.
I was doing all that television and I was an anchor and everything, whenever I go into a store or a dry cleaner or something, people were aghast at the different, your height, your size, everything is just you're so much younger. I mean, everything about you is completely different on television. Anyway.
Even though most anchors have huge heads. They're like actors. Actors have huge heads.
Well, I remember Vanna White when she was interviewed many, many years ago, and I've always loved her because she said, "Hey, I turn letters. Okay, I stand there and I turn letters. I'm not curing cancer. Don't make me up to be a big role model. I turn letters on TVs," and which I thought was sweet. But she said the reason that she got hired was because her head is enormous. She has a very big head for her body, and she said that they would tell her. I mean, people who do this for a living would say the people who photographed best on TV, or I mean, you were right, yeah. And she remarked about it and said, that's one of the reasons that she probably became a millionaire. And as famous as she was, because she has a big head. Anyway, just for the record. Well, what a start to the show.
Happy Rosh Hashanah, everyone.
It's right now. Wasn't it Saturday?
No, sundown
It
yesterday.
was sundown yesterday. Yeah. So now is this the real? Is this a serious one or is this a jokey one?
I don't think it's
the real
jokey, but I think Yom Kippur is the one where they stop everything and wail. That's the sad one. That's when you atone.
Well, Rosh
and you don't
Hashanah is that like is that like a fasting? I'm sorry, I should know that. But again, I forgot to look at it. I mean, I used to know stuff like this when Mike Rose was our producer. He was our local Jew, and which is great. Not that there's anything wrong with that. No, I'm teasing.
I think they blow the temple up once a year for Rosh Hashanah.
and Sluggo. We
Yes,
even out with Sluggo.
Oh,
yeah.
you know how I knew he was Jewish?
How?
He told me.
They'll tell you.
He's like a pilot.
How do you know if there's a pilot at a cocktail party? Trust me.
I'm sure there's big proud.
I had one of those scumbag fighter pilots trying to pick up my girlfriend. I mean, right in front of me. I mean, and she was falling for it, and she was telling her about, oh no, that picture of me, that's me in the cockpit. Oh God, really? I'm saying, honey, I mean,
I'm in the cockpit.
he's trying to have sex with you. I said, I'm right here. God.
Standing right here.
Anyway.
Talking about a cockpit.
Anyway, all right. Okay, we have issue. We got topics. We're going to do soundbite of President Child Molester. We've got topics on the FBI is at it again. The Stasi agents raiding the Catholic guy's home, and I mean, just unbelievable newsy stuff. I got a whole bunch of sporty stuff I want to talk about with you. Have you done Holy Crap at Sports yet?
No, I wanted to wait till the dust cleared down on North Avenue before I did mine.
Oh well, because of.
Georgia Tech just fired everybody, basically, which is fine.
There's a headline that Collins to be fired, so I guess they did as we speak.
Him and the AD.
And the AD. Wow. Anyway, we'll talk about that.
Well, it gets me. Ken Segura, I don't know him. He's a beat writer for AJC, and he said, "Wow, crazy times." When is it crazy to fire a coach who's 10-28?
Yeah.
It's not crazy times. It's
they have to make up. Well, look at the size of the sports page.
I think these guys get a little too close to what they're covering sometimes. I'm not saying that Ken did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it just sounds weird for him to tweet crazy times when nobody in the college football world thinks this is crazy at all.
Honestly, I think it's just, the AJC is gasping its last breath. I mean,
they're still
look at the size of the sports
section. Looking down at everybody else. There's a beat writer for the Braves, David O'Brien, who does a good job, but every time some fan asks a question he doesn't like, he's like gets on this high and mighty, I'm the sports writer and I know what's best, and you don't, you're just a stupid fan and you don't know. He did it yesterday, he bit some guy's head off for just asking a question on Twitter. It's like, dude, you're in an industry that's dying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be pissing people off right now.
Yeah, I mean, the sports page used to be a section, and now it's like 2-page. I mean, it's really shameful.
It was a nationally known sports section. We were talking to Ron Hudspeth and Louis Grizzard and Jesse Outler and Furman Bisher.
Well, Furman Bisher goes back 60 years for 70 years from the Masters.
It was the newspaper and sports section in the South.
Yeah. It's a disgrace.
The Crimson Tide is known as the Crimson Tide because of an article in the AJC.
Yeah. It's a disgrace. I mean, it's really shameful. And again, they're going to stop. The paper's dead after this year. It's over. They're not going to even print it.
So I don't know where the attitude comes. I guess they just can't help themselves.
Yeah. And now you do crossword puzzles, don't you? You like stuff like that?
I was. But
do you have any interest in Brain Busters? There's a section. Okay.
It makes me feel stupid, and I don't know.
Well, I know.
Then I'd just be fat and stupid.
And a lot of people, I've never really been particularly good at these. I mean, for some reason, some I can sort of get right pretty quickly, but I'm not what you'd call one of these guys who loves these brain teasers with crossroads. I mean, but I know people who do, and they go bam like that.
My grandmother, just all she did.
My first mother-in-law was just wham bam boom, and she was totally her name was Parmi Shanfrini. Lasted through like 9th grade in high school in 1925. The old Italian neighborhood stuff. But man, she was smart as a whip, and she could do stuff like this, and it was just the brain works that way. Not mine.
We've insulted the Israelis and the Italians so far in the show.
I mean, I'm bragging about her that she was, she put me to shame. I mean, she was back in a generation where they were working, and they were World War II people. They went to work anyway. Oh God, we got a billion things. Can I do a couple of quick, nitpicky, personal things? Okay. It turns out. Well, it turns out.
Stop it.
You see this in elderly people. All of a sudden, a huge part of the calendar in your future is involved with trying to fix your body parts. I now have one of my $20,000 new jaw implant things is loose. I can just, like that. And of course they're not open on Mondays. They can't. So I have to. But again, so here we go. So there goes my, half of my Tuesday, and I've got to go to the barn because Speckleface needs help. So I'm volunteering my free time to go walk him or do his thing. So, but again, there goes that day. Stuff. But again, my tooth is a freaking implant for all that money. It's supposed to be permanent. How is it possibly going to get loose? Where I can just like that? Freaking unbelievable. Plus, I'm still wearing these fake ear rockets, and I called again this morning. Of course, they're not there Monday. An audiologist isn't there Monday, but they're going to call tomorrow to find out where the hell they are. It's been 2 weeks. It's just like this company. Now, again, I love the people at the EANT place, and this girl Morgan who worked with me, I love her. She's wonderful. The company, True Hearing, are the ones who made these several $1,000 hearing bracket things for my ears. Twice now, when I've had my appointment to go have them put in, they've called and canceled the appointment because they weren't ready. How could they not know they weren't ready until the day I was supposed to get them in? Twice! And I still don't know where they are. But anyway, so I got to take care of that as a thing. Okay, now I'm going to have some happy news here, some personal stuff, happy type
We're
stuff.
getting that out of the way. Brought to you by Atlanta Custom Closets. ClosetPro.net, 404-255-0589. That's 404-255-0589. Atlanta Custom Closets. You got a cat that needs a good closet?
Yeah.
Atlanta Custom Closets.
You could put stuff in your closet. When they organize it for you, you'll love it. Atlanta Custom Closets. And off we go. Okay. Oh, God, there's so much. A couple of quick minor nitpicks. Oh, Lord. When did truck drivers suddenly become such assholes?
Oh, come on. They're not all assholes.
Well, all of a sudden, I'm trying to I was going to make a left turn today, but I see this big truck coming from my right and wants to turn in front of me. So, of course, I let him, and I actually backed up. So we'd have plenty of room, and it wouldn't having to be a problem going on a curb or any of that stuff. You'd think he'd so much as flip me the bird or tip his cap or something.
He didn't even
nothing.
see you.
No, yeah, right. He saw me backing up. I know he didn't miss my car. Anyway, but today I got cut off by a guy, and I kind of let him in, and he nothing. They're just the rudeness. I guess maybe because everybody else is rude and they don't care anymore. I don't know. I'm just saying. I always wanted to be an interstate trucker. My whole life I was Giddy Up Go by Red Sovine's one of the great tear jerker. You ever heard that song?
Start a car,
oh
boy.
God,
Don't
what a tear jerker song! I remember the first time I
please
heard that.
don't.
I was drinking illegally with my prep school buddies over in a bar across the state line where the drinking age was lower, and somebody put that song in the jukebox, Red Sovine with Giddy Up Go, and oh man, we're sitting there bawling at that,
No, please.
Yeah,
don't.
if you can find it, if you find this, Giddy Up Go by Red Sovine. Anyway, so trucker, but I love truckers. I've always wanted to drive a big Peterbilt or a Kenworth, and take it down the road. And anyway,
when I was a kid, we stopped at some truck stop in Alabama, and they had T-shirts for sale. And one of them had a big old truck on the front of the T-shirt, and it said Peterbilt. How's yours?
Oh, how?
And I picked it up and I carried it over to my parents. I go, what is this? I don't understand. What does this mean? Put that back.
Yeah, go.
Put that back right now. No.
I play a little bit.
Happy
Red
tune.
Sova.
Happy melody so far.
The highways that wind and
I know.
wander over
fucking
mountains and valleys and deserts and plains. I guess I've drove about all of them. 'Cause for the past 25 years now, the cab of a truck has been my home. And it'd be kind of hard for me to settle down and not be on the go. Well, I remember the first truck I drove. I was so proud I could
No,
hardly wait
it's
to
him
get
talking
home
the
to
whole
show
time.
It's
my
him
wife
talking
and
the whole time. It's kind of skip ahead a little bit, maybe get toward at least a minute in or
He
so,
wasn't old enough
just
to
for the
say
fun of
to.
it.
Up beside me pulled a brand new diesel rig.
Okay, hold it for a second right there. Can you pause it?
Black coal.
Okay, the story is his father has a truck, and a little boy would say, "Giddy up, go, Daddy! Giddy up, go!" And he'd take him for a ride. Okay, then the father and mother break up. The father hadn't seen his father in 20, 30 years. He's sitting, so Red Sovine sitting in a bar one night. There's a trucker next to him, and they get to talking about truckers, say how much they love each other, truckers, and they say, "Well, good to talk to you, kid. Good to talk to you, old man." They go their separate ways. The guy gets in his truck. He goes down the road. The boy follows him, and behind on the bumper sticker says, "Giddy up, go." It was his father that he found in the bar.
Oh,
anyway, so
no.
hit that where it was there, if you would, sir.
And not having any,
sorry, did I screw you up totally?
not having any CB radio, he couldn't contact him, so he never
And
saw
as
him.
he
Just
pulled around
stop.
and back
Let
in
this
front of me,
happen. My God, man.
A big lump came in my throat, and my eyes watered like I had a bad old cold. A little sign on the back of the truck that read, "Giddy up, go." Well, I pushed old Giddy up and stayed right on him till the next truck stop where he'd pulled up. And I waited till he went in, and I offered to buy him a cup.
You know what I'm more shocked
Wait, that's
at?
what it was. He saw the sign first and then found it. But anyway, that's the story. It turned out to be his daddy. So
You know what I'm more shocked at? This
that?
has almost 3 million views.
oh, I guarantee you. I mean, but again, it was
So he's a deadbeat dad.
Two teenagers sitting in a darkened bar across the state line, drinking illegally, and a country music jukebox, and they play. And we're just sitting there crying.
But he's a deadbeat dad. He just abandoned
Joe,
the
stop!
kid
Will
for
you
20
just
years.
stop? You need to get a new girlfriend. My God.
I need a new girlfriend. You've done nothing but bitch for the first 20 minutes of the show.
Well, it's too late for me. And by the way, it figures now I have a $20,000 mouth. And ladies, by the way, let me say it's worth it, but not that would ever be appropriate anymore.
Cindy just said, "Stop the pain."
All right, that's the end of my trucker story for the day. But anyway, God, it's funny how things go around. One more kind of a consumer nitpick, if I might. I think this is, again, changing times. You know, I talked about my sunglasses that I had the scratch in, and they had to send it back to factory, and they wouldn't put them in. I did it up. Well, sure enough, on that same right-hand lens now, just from putting them down or setting them aside, there's a little teeny little nick in the outside of the thing, right where my vision is, as I'm, and it's minuscule, but it's enough that I can notice it as soon as I put them. And again, I'm thinking that they never used to, and these are Ray-Bans, and they were not the real expensive ones, but they're Ray-Bans. I mean, they're yeah.
These are
I mean,
Ray-Bans.
so I mean, they've always been. I've always trusted them, and they're not as expensive as Maui gyms. And so I mean, I don't pay that kind of money anymore, since for years and years. But anyway, but clearly the coating is cheaper, or I mean, they're not as good. The lens fell out, and I had to put it back in myself. I mean, it's I'm just sick of it. Everything is freaking falling apart or unavailable, or I know we're seeing. I mean, we're really seeing something happen in here.
Civilization
in this country.
is crumbling.
I mean,
no one cares no one cares to do the right thing. No one cares to work
getting
hard.
jobs. I mean, trying to get people to work for you. I mean, something bad's going. I mean, this is really
Not only that, like I was talking about it on a text thread. A friend of mine is a dean at a private school, and someone was asking about how is it legal for a teacher to step in if two kids are fighting. And it came to be, the whole conversation came to be that no one wants to help out anymore. They'd rather film it so their video would go
Right.
viral and they get the attention.
Well, have you seen all the videos lately of all the beatings in the street and people with their phones?
Well, not only that, look at the hatchet video
Oh my God!
No, it's
yeah.
even better one. You know what a Wawa is?
on a guitar.
No, not the Wawa pet. A Wawa's a store, convenience store.
Oh yeah, in
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Did you see
Yeah,
what
just
they got
a video.
ransacked? Okay, the place is getting ransacked by a bunch of Harvard students. Shall say, basically half of Temple University is in there raiding the store. Just
Future accountants, obviously.
literally like locusts. They cleaned out the shelves. But while this is going on, they obviously have sandwiches there. The people that are making the sandwiches are filming this locust horde coming through there, and there's this obese black woman standing there who was wanting a sandwich, and she literally says, "Are y'all gonna finish making the sandwiches, or are you just gonna keep filming?"
I mean, it's amazing. How can you let this happen?
And they're about to vote in a senator and a governor, both Democrats, both crazy, that are going to let more of them out on the street.
That lumpneck has now once again
nuts.
said you need to let people convicted of second-degree murder out of prison.
I know.
No more life sentences.
He also said yesterday, the Eagles are better than the Eagles.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah.
He's brain
literally
dead.
said that.
He had a stroke.
Remember, a senator's job, a senator's basic job is to be able to understand a motion before him of a proposal for a bill, something that will affect the country, to understand it and be able to debate it, be able to discuss it, understand it, make a point about it, have arguments about it, and figure out where we are before you sign off on it for something that affects generations in your country. He can't do that.
No, he's brain dead.
He's not even close to being. And again, my daughter Jennifer is a stroke victim, and she was a gifted student her whole life and everything else, college girl.
But there's people who still function and those who don't.
She clearly can. I mean, she thinks the way she wants to, and that's still not as good as it used to be, but it's still fairly clear. But getting it out and using it and actually typing sentences in a row without having a problem, I mean, it's harder to communicate, let alone get around. I mean, you can't tell me that the people are, and they're going to vote for this guy. He believes in emptying the prison, no more life terms. He believes in open borders, abortion anytime, anywhere. There was a couple other
Trans stuff.
Tranny things, teaching in schools, allowing kids to get gender surgery at 9. I mean, it's unbelievable. I've never heard of such a thing. And they're going to, because Oz is, from Pakistan or something, and they're going to make sure that he's an un-American freakoid.
Well, he's a shithole too.
Well, he is kind of didn't he represent some quack medicine thing for years and
stuff?
stuff?
A lot of crazy stuff.
Jesus,
he's not a
what the
he's
hell
not
is the
conservative
Republican
at all.
Party? We're going to get what we deserve. I hope that. I'm so nervous we're going to lose everything again and get totally screwed.
Well, as long as the Republicans are getting paid, they don't care.
God,
as long as they in the Chamber of Commerce get their money from the corporate globalists, they don't care. I mean, that Whitmer's going to win in Michigan after all the damage she did to that state. She's going to win.
Either. Yeah.
Hey, Michigan, that's why my great-great-grandfather got the hell out of there in 1869. He could see it coming from 150 years away.
I mean, yeah.
They're insane. The Democrats are insane.
And by the way, we're going to. It's getting worse and worse. Our former Keisha Bong Bottoms is now. Save it. We're coming to it. And she's now the White House advisor.
Oh, she failed up.
She failed. So we're going to talk about that and what an idiot we used to have for her. The letting the city burn, by the way. Let the rioters have their way so we don't cause more problems.
She was so really bad. Worked. She knew she was over her head. She quit.
Yeah,
she quit before her first term was over and said, "I'm out of here. I'm not running again."
Knew she couldn't
and what does she do? She gets a job in the White House,
advising people to hate Republicans. By the way, MAGA Republicans. All right. Anyway, that's coming up. That's coming up. I want to talk to you about the Slipshod concert off my deck.
Slipknot.
Whatever. Something that happened at the bookstore, which just flabbergasts me. And again, and you're going to be able to make fun of me because I'll bet at this moment neither one of you has any change in your pocket.
No, I have no change.
Flounder, do you have any change in your pocket?
No, but I have a jar of it right there that I put my change when I walk inside.
I have some change in my car in the thing in case I need to put a
Okay, well, there's a good reason for it, and a good reason why I'm never going to change myself. There it is. I have
You'll
a
never
change
use
jar.
those.
But no, you take them to the store, and that's probably $80 in there.
I was thinking about that yesterday, because I can go to Publix.
I save mine. I get $50-$60 in quarters.
But how much do they take? Like 10%?
I think so. But I mean,
it should be a public service.
Well, I mean, you can go to the bank and ask for coin things, but you can do it yourself. But that takes who wants to do that for 10%? What do you? I mean, what's $8 for $80?
Yeah,
sure,
exactly,
take it. Anyway, all that's coming up. Also,
Sandwich.
the brightness in the sky and a collision with an asteroid. I love this story of what they're going to do tonight out in space.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to talk about.
Believe that? You believe that?
No. I didn't say I believe anything. I'm just talking about it. Also, President child molesters at it again. Putty Park it in the handicap spot. We got a billion things to talk about, and including if you go to thekimmershow.net. What's the matter?
No, I was going to say, Mark Ledford says, "Hey, Kool-Aid."
The Kool-Aid monster. But when I mentioned Stakey Abraham, where did the Kool-Aid monster? Was that in the Ghost? There was a Kool-Aid monster
The
somewhere.
Kool-Aid monster would bust through the wall and say, "Hey, kids, I'm here with the Kool-Aid."
Yeah, but I guess
remember that?
I remember the commercial,
It was a
but I didn't know
commercial.
whether I ever actually also
And
saw it.
Family
in
Guys made fun of it.
And it reminds me of Ghostbusters with the big
Well, that's
marshmallow man.
a Stay
or
Puft
whatever.
Marshmallow
the Stay,
Man.
Yeah, the Stay Puft Man.
What did you do, Ray?
And that was
Anyway.
one of the funniest moments. When that thing came on screen, everybody
Yeah, it
just
was
went
like,
nuts. What the?
Anyway,
He was all happy.
If you go to thekimmershow.net, you can link to all the things that we do here at the Kimmer Show podcast. I call in on Friday mornings to the 106.3 radio station. We have their link to all their stuff. You can get their free app. We can give you an address if you want to send us a check, and I owe our sweet friend Denise another thank you note. And again, we really appreciate people who subscribe at patreon.com/KimmerShow, or you can go to PayPal, lots of different ways. We really do, because it's free. The podcast is free. We have thousands of listeners, but only hundreds of subscribers, so we're trying to actually make a living here. But anyway, thank you. And again, if you'd like to be a sponsor, like our friends at Wise RV Glass, they're a double sponsor. Wise RV Glass sponsoring the Kimmer Show podcast and the Kimmer Show podcast Facebook page, and we are very, very, very grateful. This is a great idea, especially when that whole pandemic thing was going on the last couple of years. Wise RV Glass, if you have an RV or motor coach or camper, something like that, and you have any kind of glass issue, might be fogged up double pane window, or even something little like a crack in a side view mirror or a rear view mirror, or those hard to find one piece flat windshields in some of these RVs and stuff. And no job is too big or too small. Don't be afraid to call them. This is what they do for a living. They'll come to you. You don't have to do anything but get a hold of them. They come to you. They take care of it in your own window frame, saving you time and money. It's an all-mobile service all over North Georgia, all through Metro Atlanta. No job if you have a fleet of them, they'll take care of that too. Or a little teeny thing. Believe me, they love to work, and they'll prove it to you. Here's a phone number, area 470-345-6521. And on the web, Wise, is W-I-S-E, wiservglass.com. And again, thank you, boys. And okay, the concert. Remember we talked about Slipface. Concert was on Saturday night. I complained because I'm renting a townhouse which is near the amphitheater. We're in North Georgia, Alpharetta, Georgia, and the amphitheater has this time of year has things during the week usually, but they had them both Saturday and Sunday. Anyway, when they do, the traffic is a nightmare. It's hard to get up. You can't get out. You can't get in. They have cops trying to direct things, but they can only direct. Your turn next, sir. I mean, it doesn't stop the traffic from backing up everywhere. So it's, I feel like I'm trapped in the place, on Saturday night. So Pete said, hey, you ought to just, you'll be able to hear them. And I used to be able to hear them a couple of years ago when they had concerts. I used to hear them. Anyway, so Saturday night, I got my phone out and I took some video out on my deck, and all I heard was hum of air conditioning units down below.
Really?
Never heard a damn thing. Did you see? I put
What
it
a
on
bunch of
Facebook.
puss.
I can't believe you. I should have sent you the video personally because I forget you never
Should've
look at our
posted
Facebook
it.
page. But I posted it, but the reason you should have looked is because I was mentioning you. Not only did I do the concert to show that I couldn't hear a damn thing, so they must be whispering. Oh, and by the way, about an hour and a half later, I went back out on the deck much later, and I think I might have heard a little something to indicate there was some music playing, but it wasn't enough to really hear anything. So just for the record. Anyway, so something changed. I don't know what. Maybe they have sound barriers put. I don't have no idea. I've never even seen the place. Anyway, but also, Pete, in the video, I said there were two things going on. One was this box of Cheez-Its.
What do you think?
Well, two things. Pete had suggested to see if my taste buds are affected. If I can't taste the Cheez-Its, I'm screwed. I've got a problem. So he says to get the Cheez-Its. And also, as it happened, on the video the other day from the horse show, I put some video of one of our lady friends up there named Jeanette, who owns Hey Jude, the horse up there. And she won 2 ribbons, and it was all great. She is an international traveler. She was in Germany for Oktoberfest and brought back and brought back beer. And she brought me a can of German Big Time Charlie. She's special.
How do you get beer from here?
I'm gonna. We don't want to Treff. She's
a smuggler.
Treff. There's no smuggling for this.
She's a trafficker.
How did they used to get all those drugs from Bermuda flying out? Anyway, so she brought back some German beer, and this is big time German beer. This is German beer that has like 6% alcohol. I mean, it's like 3 times what you get in America. And so I had a can of beer, and I had the Cheez-It. So I said, "What the hell?" So I saluted, and I used your mug, your big Stein. And so I had the Cheez-Its and the beer in the mug and listened to the concert all in one video. I posted on Facebook page.
And can you taste them?
They're bland. I could taste them, but they're not tangy cheddar.
You know, you've got all the symptoms of COVID.
Yeah.
One of them is I didn't lose my taste and smell, but you might be losing a little of it.
Yeah.
It's different.
Anyway, so there you are.
A coworker.
What are you talking about? You mean you're not going to eat them?
I'm not going to eat them. I mean, they're okay, but I don't really enjoy them. As you know, it used to be the Cheez-Its used to explode. You know, it used to be tangy, cheddary thing.
We'll see.
Well, now maybe you don't think they are either. I can only hope.
How many of these did you finger before?
No, I poured out at like 4, and I was gonna. No, I really because I didn't think I was gonna like them.
I smell them.
A friend of mine got
Now, to me, they
COVID, and he
taste-
wasn't.
But they didn't taste like they
God.
were. But I remember his Cheez-Its.
They're no more good. The goldfish were wonderful. These are horrible.
Oh, thank you, God, because I do taste other things like I've been having candy bars to see, and those are great.
I tasted it. It's just
Peanut
bad.
butter is great. Okay, thank God. Well, I'm glad I brought them in.
Oh, they're
there.
horrible.
I mean, they were just bland and.
Try these?
No.
Yeah, try these.
I used to love.
They really suck. Yeah, have a handful. Hey, kitty.
I used to love Cheez-Its.
I know. Me too.
You know why? If you'd given this to me 2 weeks ago, I probably would have said, "Oh, these are nice." But I had the goldfish for a week, which, by the way, I just finished last night.
Well, they were good for you.
And the goldfish are so much better.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Deb, because I do taste. I mean, I still do have taste buds. I eat stuff I like, and I've been having, anyway.
This show brought to you by Cheez-Its.
Yes, sorry, boys and girls. Anyway, I thought that was fairly interesting, and thank God, I'm glad I brought them in because I feel a lot better about something
The
now.
more I taste it, the better it gets. But that first taste was kind of stale.
They're not like they used. Now, maybe just they're making them different. Now, and these are big ones. I mean, they're
I don't
the full
think they're
size.
different.
But
I just think they're not as good as the goldfish.
I don't think anything's as good as it. I think everything's. I think people are doing anything they can to save money, and one thing may be using cheaper ingredients.
They're diluting everything.
Yeah. I mean, and
we may
if
have
you
been
can't
the last
notice this,
generations that had a taste of freedom.
Yeah.
And actual food that tasted like it should, like our grandmothers made.
Yeah. Well, we could see it coming. I mean, and of course, progress means you have to be more frugal or efficient in order to take care of everything. But you remember, in the 50s, the car companies had a brand new car style every year,
and it was a style.
Yeah,
it was a.
But it was
style.
it was chrome and
American.
fenders and thing, and every single year was a whole brand new fleet of every single.
And
one
you
of
knew
their
what
models.
American car looked like anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Now they all look the same.
Right. Yeah. So this was, this has been a trend, but I'm really noticing it now because this kind of stuff is really, and the fact you can't find parts and anything. That's what's going on. Okay. This is a weird example. I mentioned. I wonder whether you guys have change in your pockets. Every day when I leave the house, I make sure I have my Marine Corps Challenge coin, and I have a quarter, 2 dimes, 2 nickels, and at least 5 pennies in my pocket.
For that once a year, you need all those? Once a year.
No. So I don't have a pocket full of change, but I have, those
Going
few coins.
jing-a-ling-a-ling.
Quarter, 2 dimes, 2 nickels, and 5 pennies, and my challenge coin. Okay, so because if I go to a cash register, and again, I don't, lately I've been using I've been using a lot of my credit card, just stick it in and chip it, and because it's been easier. You know what I don't like about that?
What?
If I'm shopping now and I'm going down the aisle, I always am conscious of how much money I have in my pocket. But if I'm using the credit card, I don't care how much money I have in my pocket. I'll buy a second one. You know what I mean? And that's bad for me because at some point you got to pay it. So anyway, so I'm trying to be careful. But okay, here's what. God, I'm so weird. I have change in my pocket because I always know how much I have. Okay, I'm at the bookstore. And I bought some stuff. Actually, I could have charged it on the Kimmer Media, but I did not. I paid my own cash. The bill came. There was a young woman, probably 20-ish or something, behind the cash register, and the charge. It was a book thing, and the charge came to $16.14. Now, knowing I didn't really want to have 86 cents back in change. When I gave her a $20 bill, so I gave her a $20 bill, and I couldn't hear her because of my stupid ear rockets, and they have this freaking glass there too. So honestly, I'm so sick and tired of saying, "I'm sorry, I'm a little hard of hearing." So anyway, so she said, $20 fish restaurants, and I heard the 14 cents, and I said, "I'm sorry, I really can't hear you through." She said, "Oh, it's $16.14." And I said, "Okay, great." And I said, "Here's a 20," and I said, "Here, I got the 14 cents here. Just a second." And she said, "I'm sorry, I'm yelling now." And I said, "I've got the 14 cents here. Hold on a second." And she said, "Oh, you don't need it. You're going to get change back. It's more, And I said, "What?" And she said, "Well, it's only $16, and you gave me a 20, so you're going to get change back. You don't need to give me the 14 cents." I thought, "Oh, Jesus, God in heaven." Honestly,
You can't argue with that.
I couldn't freaking believe it. And I'm thinking to myself, okay. I said, "Well, then I said, no, it's this way. Just give me the $4." And when I said that, she almost shit her pants. I mean, she didn't know how to react to it. She didn't know what I was talking about. That it was I gave her $20.14 on a $16.14 bill, and she started in her head. She's looking. Oh, what do I do now? I mean, honest to God, it was like she couldn't figure it out. And I said, "Just give me I swear to God, I said, just give me $4. I said, just give me $4.
That sounds like a threat.
And eventually she did. I mean, but it was like, I hope this isn't one of those scams. I mean, honest, oh my God, I couldn't believe it.
Well,
I mean, does nobody have the chance? I mean, who wants 86 cents in change if you don't need, if you have the, you know what I mean? Oh God. And I thought, I guess everybody pays with a chip. Or their phone, they go click, but nobody ever has any money.
Bortz used to have that great trick, which actually I paid for
I've done
a
it
trip
too.
to New York on New Year's Eve, and I paid for a trip to New Orleans during Mardi Gras. But basically, never spend a dollar bill.
Yeah.
Always take the dollar bills at the end of the day and put it in your coat pocket in the closet.
Yeah.
And I paid for 2 trips doing that.
Yeah.
But you can't do it anymore.
I do it with quarters and stuff. So I get $50-$80 at a time, but I don't. But again, I do have. I always have $20-$30 or whatever in cash, just on general principle. But again, I mean, I couldn't. I was totally freaked, and I thought, God, here we are. This is it. Pretty soon there'll be no money.
That's what they want.
President Child Molester's going crypto now. He's got a whole crypto
They've
department.
screwed up crypto. They've completely screwed it up.
Jesus God.
Crypto used to go up and down, up and down, up and down. It stayed the same for almost a year now because the government's gotten involved,
Right.
and they've screwed it up.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well,
they want you to all hit the chip, because then they can use the social credit on you. Oh, you posted this?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't like that, so
Yeah.
you can't buy this amount of groceries this
I
month.
know. I'm.
The Chinese are
flabbergasted.
doing it, and they're trying to copy what the Chinese are doing. The Chamber of Commerce is with it. The Republicans are with it. The Democrats are with it.
And you know what the problem is? This is way over my head. I mean, I don't. What am I going? Am I going to criticize the new financial transaction system in America? I don't have any crypto. I don't want to be doing shit on my phone. You know, the whole this Publix. Have you seen the commercials for this Publix phone on your phone? You can be in charge of your own investments right now. Just dial up your Publix app and you can invest right. So people are investing on their phone as they're going to work and stuff. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm not. That's not me. It's over.
They don't tell them that most of those stocks will be worthless at some point.
Well, it's like penny. Isn't it like day trading or something? They're trying to get more people to get the action going. I assume because whether they win or lose, somebody's going to get paid. Yeah. I mean, isn't that the key to it? That if you're involved with a thing, at some point, whether you win or lose, somebody's getting some money. Right? Am I being cynical, or that's got to be true, right?
They're not doing it for free.
Yeah. I mean, somebody's making money off of this. Clicks or I don't. Again, this is way out of my bailiwick.
We missed that train.
I mean, by a mile. I mean, where am I going to go to learn? Well, I think I'll take a couple of classes now and how to be a 20-year-old.
Khan Academy will teach you.
God. I'm too tired. I just, I don't get, I just.
By the way, somebody here, I forget who said it, says that, well, he's gone now, said that poor Flounder didn't get a word in edgewise. Did you have something to say earlier?
Were you trying to say something?
If I was, I forgot, so we're good.
Sorry. Well, he's over there typing. He's doing something. The guy's working.
Well, he's trading. He's trading stocks. See?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys.
Trying to find the good parts for Saturday playback. Have you ever heard? I keep forgetting to listen. Sometimes I'll hear a few minutes.
What I normally try and do is, I try and put some fun banter stuff on the first one, and then the second segment is the meat and potatoes, politics, and what's going on.
Do you ever do any of the history stuff?
Oh yeah, usually the third segment is the fun shit.
In fact, for some reason,
I put the vasectomy story. I did the vasectomy story. I put that in there and stuff like that. So
that's great.
So you didn't cut that one out?
That's a great. Anyway, you're doing it.
What were
excellent.
you going to say? You said that you listened to it the other day and something happened.
Oh no, I just keep forgetting that it's on Saturday at noon. It can be a funny time.
I'm getting ready. Well, Saturday at noon is the kickoff for college football, so my butt's sitting in front of the TV.
Plus, I'm probably either at or heading to the stable or trying to do something before I have to go. I mean, it's just a funny time of day. But anyway, so thank you, Flounder has put that all together. Now, and speaking of the podcast. We got, it's the podcast message thing. Would that be just to me, or would that be to all of us? If you open up the podcast and go to the message thing or the comment thing.
I don't know.
Okay. It's a message, and it says, "Hey, Kimmer," and it's from our friend Reba, who's been a listener. In fact, I look back, her first message is from 3 years ago. So she'd been a listener for a long. Have we been doing this for 3 years?
Well, I started mine right after we got fired, and we got fired in 2019, right?
We got, was it
March
or April?
March or April. And I started doing my show, and then, what was it, 3 months before we started doing your show?
We did it on Friday the 13th. Remember, I demanded we start on Friday the 13th, our podcast.
I think it was toward
fall,
the end
November.
of summer. End of summer or fall.
I think
so,
it was
we've been doing this for
because we started right when the...
No, wait, didn't we start in
December, right when that radio station started?
We started either December or January, because remember we did at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's like right at the almost, I want to say mid or end of December.
2020.
But it was Friday the 13th. Remember when we did when we actually started the thing.
So we've been doing this for like 2.5 years.
Yeah. Anyway, so since 2019, I got the other day I was reading a Dear Abby column. In fact, I think I might have one in here today for something. But anyway, I was reading a Dear Abby column about a woman who. Was a white woman who was either newly married to or engaged to or dating a black guy, and they're both in their 60s or 65, 70 years old, and she loves to hold hands, and he won't hold hands with her when they're walking down the street.
You did it Friday,
Right. And because he said, well, for one thing, black guys don't do that, and she was kind of crushed because she didn't think it's sweet, and so the issue was whether, hand holding among couples still continues when you get older, and also whether it's a black thing. I didn't know. It just kind of interesting. Anyway, I remember saying I used to love to hold hands. If I'm with a girl, I love to hold her hand, and I hold it where I'm on the outside of it because I'm the man, and I did a whole thing. And I talk about I'll walk on the outside, and I'm a old-fashioned guy. And, okay. Anyway, so we got I'm going to read a reaction here. It's really touching, and I got permission to say this. This is from a lady named Reba. And she says she's visiting her daughter and family at an Air Force base someplace, and been there, I was listening to the story you told about a woman who wrote in about her boyfriend who was African-American and the fact he thought holding hands was acting like a teenager. And Reba writes, I reached out to a high school boyfriend who also happened to be African-American when I turned 50. We dated in the 80s, and being from the South, caught hell and was threatened. We stopped dating. I married and divorced. When I turned 50, I reached out to him because he was always a gentleman, very sweet, and someone I remembered as my first true love. I will tell you that from day one, holding my hand was a must. Also, just like you said, Kimmer, he walks beside me on the side of the road to protect me as we walk, holding my hand. Or if we're walking in a parking lot, he keeps me on the side of the parked cars and walks next to me, protecting me from traffic. He's always opening doors for everyone and me, always opens my car door, asks if I'm good before closing the door, takes my things from my arm so I don't have to carry. Now, I'm a very independent woman, been on my own for a while after my divorce, and my focus was my daughter and getting her raised and through school. When I started dating this man after all these years, it was hard to let someone carry stuff for me, just make sure my car was clean, so on and so forth. After all these years, going on 4 years, I sat my daughter down to tell her who he was. Her first reaction was, I need to meet him. She embraced him with an attitude of not seeing color, but how he treated me. And sadly, she has seen where my father completely shut me out because I'm dating him. She has seen her grandmother act like he's not even in my life. But with all that said, she sees someone who is kind, treats her and her family like his own, always remembering in birthdays, occasions, so forth. So to that woman who enjoys holding hands, find a man who feels the same way. Life is too short not to be happy. Every relationship is different, but showing affection with someone who returns that affection is something that is greater than gold. Oh, and by the way, she sent a picture of a car, of a bumper sticker, or the back part of a car, and the stickers said, well, I can't find it here at the moment, but it said it was anti-Biden by a mile. Anyway, I wrote back to her, and I said, what a wonderful letter. And I said, if the news host in me really would love to talk about that on the air. And she said, never use my name. No, she didn't know. She said, please do. Feel free to use Enjoy your show, listening to your show, and God bless you and Pete and Flounder, and thank you for your service, sir. And one more thing, remind people when they are thanking our veterans to also thank their spouses for their service. I have met some wonderful women in this place where she's visiting that my daughter is friended from the Air Force Base. There's a special bond with these women. My daughter moved here a year ago, and I have really struggled with her being so far. After meeting these women who support each other, support military spouse businesses, it's amazing. And because of this beautiful network, she says, at the military base of military wives, my daughter's been sent formula for her 1-month-old baby that she could not get stocked up on during her pregnancy because of the shortage. She literally just received formula from other spouses as far away as Washington State. We are all grandparents in Georgia. It looked for months. Military spouses who hold down the family home are angels, and God bless them. Thank you again, Kimber. Keep up the great work. I gotta go. You're killing me. From Reba. I'm sorry, that was a lot.
No, it was very nice. Any other manifestos you want to read while we're here?
Well,
oh my God!
That's cruel.
I know
think she was.
Cruel. I'm just saying that you could have, edited it a little bit.
Well, I can't believe you're saying I thought that was.
We're both looking at each other like,
but there were several parts of it. I mean, it was a whole part of. I mean, there was a military part. There was a spouse part. It was like 4 things.
That's one of the most beautiful things.
You cold-hearted bastards, the both of you. You both kissed my ass. How about that? Reba, I'm sorry you had to hear that.
That woman's pouring her heart out.
Leave me alone.
And, and then
no more messages.
And then on Tuesday,
you dirty bastards. That is so freaking cold. Oh my God.
Let that be a lesson.
And by the way, Here's my sheet. Oh, I didn't write down the whole
see
thing.
your sheet.
But I when I made up my planning sheets for all the stuff that I bring in here, I made a note and I said, okay, you're going to talk about your tooth, you're going to talk about your hearing aid, you're going to talk about all this stuff, and you're going to talk about the thing. I might end on a sweet note, which is to make sure the fourth thing you do at the beginning of the podcast is to talk about that sweet letter from Reba. And instead,
That brings up an interesting thing, though. I live above restaurants, so I see couples come and going all the time, and very rarely do I see them holding hands. But it's usually an older couple. It usually is. It's usually not the young, but every once in a while it is. But I'm trying to think, and probably I'm going to start looking for it now. I've never seen a black man hold another woman's hand.
I think
I've never seen that I can remember. Is it a cultural thing? I'm going to
think
start
it might
looking
be.
because we got all kinds coming in these restaurants. I'm going to stand on my balcony and I'm going to watch them.
Has anyone ever done it? I wonder if anyone's ever really looked into this kind of thing about interpersonal relationships. I mean, who knows? Maybe some sociologist got a PhD based on interpersonal relationships in public with white and black guys.
Hand holding justice.
In his own single his hand right there.
I don't know if it's a cultural thing or that maybe black guys just
don't know.
don't do it. Maybe just. What do you call it? PDAs, public display of affection.
Yeah.
A lot of guys don't like any public display.
It may well be an age thing. I mean, too. But again, older people. Again, if it's the older couple in this case, it must be a racial thing. I would think because I think older couples do more appreciate that kind of thing. I don't know. What do I know? I'll never be an older couple. Think about that. I'll never be an older couple. I'll never be a part. Oh my God! I'll never be a part of an older couple. I'll never be there. Oh, look at them gently going down the park with, I bet they lived through the wars. Yeah. Oh, we should go. How you doing, old timer? Oh, yeah.
Wonder if they're still hiding the salami.
Honey, you called me. Can I get you a cover up or something? I said, yeah, that's me, all right. God. I'm freaking dying. All right, hold on.
Wait, Flounder, still got plenty of time. Do you ever think about the fact that you may not ever have a long-term relationship at the end?
I got plenty of time.
Yeah, no, we all think
Well,
that.
that's, okay.
I'm not, but again, it's just not something I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Well,
Maybe you should.
save your money.
Your biological clock is ticking over there.
I heard from my good buddy Mike Summers. I used to work with my old morning man, co-morning man from the 70s. I mean, many, many years ago. And he in fact, he came to work with me here in Atlanta once after he was with CNN radio, and then he came over to work with us at the radio. So anyway, many years ago. And he's quite a character in many different ways, and he was really fun to work with. You've heard it. We did a tape of him together one time. Anyway, he said while driving home last night from Louisville to Lexington.
How long is this, buddy?
No, it's 12 seconds. You dirty bastards! Can't stop. Driving home to a little over an hour. Jupiter was the brightest thing in the sky. Now I know why. Monday night it'll be the closest to Earth in about almost 60 years. Going to see if I can spot the moons. There was a big story about that kind of thing. Yeah. Anyway, so Jupiter, if you're into that like space.
Friday night, I was out on the balcony, and I go, "Oh, there's Mars. Mars is looking pretty big tonight." And then I looked up above that, and I go, "No, wait a minute. There's Mars. There's twice the size as the other one." And it just seems it's very clear these days.
Well, now, and I think this is an amazing story. I think this is an unbelievable story. NASA is going to crash a spacecraft into an asteroid tonight. 6 million miles away, actually 7 million miles away from Earth. It's a spacecraft called DART that will zero in on the asteroid tonight, slamming into it head on at 14,000 miles an hour. It is hoped it will nudge the asteroid into a slightly tighter orbit around the rock it's flying around now. And they're trying to show, just like in the movies, if we are threatened by an asteroid coming toward Earth, they want to find out if you can either blow it up or if you can direct it in a different orbital path. And they're hoping that by hitting this asteroid head on at 14,000 miles an hour, it will alter its path. The asteroid is 525 feet across. It's 7 million miles from Earth. And the experts say it's about deflection, not disruption. This will not blow up the thing. It isn't going to put it into pieces. It'll dig out a crater 30, 40, 50 yards in size and hurl 2 million pounds of rocks into space from the explosion. There's a 0 chance either asteroid or a companion thing will hit Earth, and that's why they picked this one, because it would never hit us ever. But they're going to see whether this path thing will work. The size of a small vending machine at 1,200 pounds, the aircraft will slam into the asteroid, which weighs 11 billion pounds.
Okay, wait, listener says, what could possibly go wrong? This will hit your Shelby, Kimmer.
Now, think about this. The asteroid is only 525 feet across, and it weighs 11 billion pounds.
That's iron. That's either iron or all nickel.
That's something. Holy moly.
It's just going to piss it off, is what it's going to do.
They say it's like running a golf cart into the Great Pyramid. If you were going to do this for planetary defense, it really, in true fashion, you'd have to do it 5 or 10 or maybe 20 years in advance for it to work. The 1998 film Armageddon, Bruce Willis went to Cape Canaveral. Leonardo DiCaprio in Don't Look Up was an all-star cast for the same kind of thing. The 1979 movie Meteor with Sean Connery. There have been a lot of kind of movies about it, about this kind of thing. But again, it's going to happen tonight, and they're hoping that it'll work. It'll knock it off course. We won't know for days or maybe weeks, but I think that's pretty cool. All right, hold on. Coming up, the Braves pay a visit to a child molester, and the child molester's angry other half, the worst first lady in the history of America, is also coming to Atlanta to shame anybody who didn't vote for her. We'll talk about Stakey back in the news, and Bong Bottoms back in the news, and Hillary Rodham on Pea Stinky Fart Cabbage opening her big fat mouth once again, too. But first, a reminder of one of our sponsors, M&S Title Pawn. The letters are M and S, hence the name M&S Title Pawn. Excuse me. Sponsoring this part of the Kimmer Show podcast. They are in beautiful Bremen, Georgia at 306 Laurel Street, Suite A. Open Monday through Saturday. They love to have you come in person and shop around, see what's going on, bring in what you got going or whatever's on your mind. Monday through Saturday at 306 Laurel Street in Bremen. Here's a phone number. Call them in advance. Check out some things. 678, the area code, 678-821-3337. And if you want to shop online, check them out. You spell M and S, so you spell out the way to check them out online this way, manstitle.com, M-A-N-D-S title.com. That's M&S Title Pawn in Bremen, Georgia. And again, we appreciate their page. Please go patronize our friends when you're up that way. Stop in and say hi and tell them you heard them on the Kimmer Show podcast. We're very grateful.
In fact, I always do that when you do our people. Tell them where you heard it.
And for that matter, just when you just look them up and see what's going on, and maybe leave a message or whatever. And again, I can't tell you how much we appreciate our sponsors, because this is it. I mean, we're really, at some point I got to get a job, so we really, I mean, we really.
We say that, but what kind of jobs are we qualified for?
Well, I mean, I thought about the other day. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's my resume. I have no skills. You don't want to know my medical background. What's that? I can't hear you either.
We're easily trainable.
I can't answer the phone.
We can do a lot of different stuff.
Oh, I could carry an ammo belt. I could drive a dump truck. I used to drive a milk truck.
They still have data transcribers. Work from home.
Yeah. Coding. I should try coding.
Who needs a coder?
Oh my God!
What? It's like what's the movie with Robert De Niro where he's the mobster guy? Well, that really narrows it down.
Goodfellas?
No, the later one with the
Casino.
shrink.
Billy Crystal.
Yeah. Remember, he's trying to sell.
Billy Crystal.
Oh,
analyze this.
Oh yeah. That's a funny movie.
He's
funny movie.
He's selling cars. He's like, well, we went for a ride. You said you like it. Why don't you buy the fucking car? We've been dancing around this bullshit. Now you don't want to buy the car.
That was a funny movie.
was
I
a
forgot
funny
how
movie.
funny
There's
that
two of
movie
them,
was. When he's slapping around Vito or whatever. With his
Billy
coat.
Crystal jumps up and starts slapping the mobster.
And then he would just be like, you
too much, you.
Ooh.
I had forgotten that one. That was a very funny movie. The Braves went to the White House today. As we dropped this podcast, it's Monday afternoon, and so we get to see them, but they were at the White House before the game. There's a 3-game series tonight with the Nationals. I did hear President Pedophile was saying, the Atlanta Braves, they've had the only baseball team in America that's played every day for 150 years. The Atlanta Braves, we love Atlanta. Atlanta's a great sports town because the Atlanta Braves, hey, great. So the teleprompter was working.
Where's the door?
Yeah, I guess everybody went. And again, our the manager very clearly said that what an honor this would be to go to the White House. I'll remember it the rest of my life, as it should be. I mean, just to go there. I mean, I'd love to get a tour of the White House.
I did when I was a kid.
Are you all right over there?
I went as a kid. I remember.
Did you?
I remember we stood in line. when I
Yeah,
was a
I've
kid.
seen it, but I've never been in it. I've been to the Capitol.
We lived there.
I had a tour with Lindy Boggs, the congressman who died in the disparate plane crash, and his wife became elected to Congress. He was killed in the Alaska hunting trip, and Lindy Boggs became congresswoman, and she gave me a personal tour of the.
What are you saying?
But no, I saw. Actually, she told me a secret. She showed me the place where outside, it was either the Senate chamber or the House chamber. There's one little spot on the floor within 2 or 3 feet of a certain part of the wall that kind of curves a little bit. If you stand there, you can hear everything. And it's one of those, everybody knows it's a secret, but she actually showed it to me, and I thought, oh my God, you really can. And it's just one of those kind of, I mean, it's the freaking Capitol, the White House, the Capitol.
It doesn't mean what it used to mean to me anymore.
Not anymore. I'm totally,
Because
I
the
could give
idiots
it.
in there.
If someone asked me to go, please.
It's so corrupt now.
Yeah.
In
fact, we'll talk more about
we're literally we're at the end of the Republic, the Roman Republic, and we're waiting for a Caesar, and we had kind of one in Trump, but we're waiting for someone to come along. I was reading that Vanity Fair article about the liberal guy who went to all these very young new wave conservatives who live in New York. By the way, they're very brave. And basically talking about the new wave that's coming in the next 10, 20 years, that it's like, it's cool now to be conservative.
Yeah.
And to want family values and everything. Well, look what just happened in Italy. That the woman, and of course,
they're claiming now that she's
the New York Times, BBC, and doing what they did in Sweden 2 weeks ago.
She's a Nazi.
That they're all Nazi. They call them Nazis.
Are leftists, but yeah.
And anything that's on the right that wants God and family and country first, they're right-wing, far right. They call them far right. And they did it to Sweden 2 weeks ago, and now they're doing it to this woman in Italy.
The first thing you do
They're
is
Nazis.
label your enemy.
The Atlantic says fascism returns to Italy. That is not true.
Yeah, it's not even close.
But you know what?
It's a label. It's going to work.
It's preferable to the damn Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the thing in the whole article, basically, and it's from a liberal writer saying that they're waiting for their Caesar.
Yeah. This creepy scumbag we have that you Democrats allowed to hide in his base. When I look back at the entire campaign, remember how he'd come out, make a statement, and then turn his back on the press and just disappear again. And I kept saying, why are you doing? How could you allow this? Why are you? And it worked. It worked brilliantly and perfectly. It was big tech and the media and the Democrats all in cahoots, and it worked. And it was and the DOJ and the FBI and everything else. It was perfect. And now, Flounder, did you find that soundbite of President Child Molester we were talking about? If this isn't creepy, I mean, it happened the other day. He was giving a speech to the National Education Association, which, by the way, did you see Tucker the other night has done a couple of days' stories on this? The National Education Association actually has a secret coding system in their literature where teachers who want to enable children to change their genders and go to gender reaffirming or altering websites and kinky websites involving sadomasochism, and we've talked about the issue of children learning about things like sodomy and all this kind of stuff. And the National Education Association, the most powerful union in the world and the biggest teachers union, has secret coded websites for teachers to get to tell their kids. And Tucker Carlson outed them with showing the moniker, showing the trademark thing for it, how they do it. That's the National Education Association.
They're socialists.
I mean, secret coding systems for sadomasochism and bondage and stuff. Are you kidding me? We're not kidding you. So he's given a speech to him, and this is, President Sleazebag, the kid sniffer, and he interrupts his remarks on climate change and spots somebody in the crowd. Flounder, have you got that soundbite here? Check this out if you haven't heard it. Incredible.
But guess what? We got a lot to do. Gotta say hi to me. We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30, but anyway, this woman helped me get an awful lot done. Anyway,
yeah.
Wow.
Really?
And out in the open. They're just out in the open now with it.
She was 12 and I was 30.
Who?
And then this woman really helped me along the way.
How can he think that's funny?
Comments. As dementia progresses, patients lose more of their filter and tend to blurt out the truth. The right-wingers are going to tweet, did he sniff her hair? Why Biden frustrates handlers. The right-wingers are going to do this, don't you? Miranda Devine, is there any exculpatory context to this in any way? Do Democrats really think this is normal? Is there any possible explanation for why he would look at this woman and think about when she was 12 years old and he was 30? I mean, holy God. I mean, why isn't a lightning bolt just sizzling the whole freaking bunch of them? I mean, honestly, I can't believe it.
If Trump was talking about young girls like that.
Oh, my God. Remember when Trump said, my daughter, she's beautiful, too bad I can't date her. Remember he was making a joke about how beautiful Ivanka is, and they went nuts, calling him a child molester for years at one of their beginning of their attacks on him. Anybody mention this at all except Fox News and us? Anybody? Talk about a pervert. Holy God. I mean, honestly.
He's a pedophile, in our opinion.
He's a child molester. And there was a picture in social media, and I don't know whether it was photoshopped, of him with a young girl on his knee, a young blonde girl. Looked about 12. It was one of the reactions.
Is that the one they put up every now and then that said that Jill was his babysitter? Is that the same one?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, oh, my God. But again, I mean, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Well, no reaction, no nothing. Nobody cares.
They're openly for pedophiles. They're calling it what? They call it something else now these days.
Flexible.
Well, not grooming. That it's
no, it's the ability to allow young people to have sex too.
Youth attracted or something.
Yeah,
like,
youth attracted. Youth attracted. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Youth attracted.
No, I don't think
youth attracted. Well, I think you're close. You could probably Google it. If you only had some way to look. Anyway, I mean, freaking child molester. What's that?
I thought it was grooming.
Well, the grooming is the thing, but now there's
minor attracted. I think is what they call it. Minor attracted person. A minor attracted person.
Yeah. Which is now supposedly be considered normal. That it's and by the way, the Mamba people. This is going back 30 years now. That I remember talking about the man boy love association.
North American, yeah.
NAMBA, yeah. They were trying to justify it by saying, well, children need loving too. I mean, they feel love and affection too. So if you treat it normally, then you're not scaring anybody. But oh my God. Anyway,
bodies at that age are not meant for that.
No, please. I mean, who thought anything involving a kid under 18 is ever allowed in America? Because that's you can't get a drink when you're 18. You can go to war, but you can't make a contract. You can't get a tattoo. You can't do a lot of things. You can't. I mean, my God. Anyway,
I'm saying if I ever came across a minor attracted person doing something to a child, I'm going to put a bullet in the back of your brain case, and I'm not even going to talk to you about it.
And by the way, they don't change. Oh God! And speaking of people, speaking of sexless monsters, Michelle Big Mike Obama is coming to Atlanta as part of her I Hate America tour. She's the Fox Theater is going to be apparently having the devil guard it from people who's having the Lord shoot down a couple of lightning bolts when she shows up. The worst first lady, the most divisive, hateful first lady America's ever had. And they used to complain about Nancy Reagan being cold. She ran Ronnie, and she was an astrology nut, and she was kind of cold, and let him eat cake, just say no. Remember they used to make fun of Nancy Reagan, but Michelle Obama's the nastiest first lady we've ever had, ever. She apparently is going to be talking about how much she hates America and how dangerous Republicans are. You sent the picture. Nobody made much a big deal about it, of them parking their car to go see their daughters at a restaurant in Los Angeles in a handicap spot for 2 hours.
It was a Secret Service.
Yeah, they just took the spot.
Of course, they backed in to the flight.
And then, told everybody, get out, just
for 2 hours.
2 hours. Yeah.
So he could eat sushi inside.
My daughter has a handicap sticker because she needs a walker. She has trouble getting around.
The rules are not for him.
And I tell you this: whenever I do it every time. If I see a guy pulling in or out of a handicap spot and he's not handicapped, if he walks to the car, gets in the car, or gets out of the car and walks into the supermarket and he's in the handicap spot, I stop him. I got one not long ago.
You got to look at the back of the car and the front, though, because that sign could be anywhere.
Oh, no, I was made, it was a handicap plate. And his excuse is, my wife, he said, my excuse is, he said, my wife's handicapped. I said, too bad she's not here,
What does that have to do with you now?
Yeah, exactly. and so I said, are you going to give me some shit now? And he said, are you going to call a cop? I said, I'll do a lot more than that, you little son of a bitch. That's when he freaking flees into Publix. Little scumbag.
Here's the thing: you say, my wife's handicapped. You just look at him and go, do you want to join her?
I can help you. Anyway, but again,
that's why a camera crew needs to follow you around. The documentary is just a 30 for 30. We follow you around. The whole incident with the change, with the girl. I mean, it's priceless. Your life is priceless.
Oh, what can I tell you? By the way, speaking of the gender things, have you also? Tucker's been doing this for a couple of years. Tucker Carlson on the show. Children's hospitals, and they have him on tape. People doing interviews, calling children's hospitals. His producers will call children's hospital in Chicago, Los Angeles, Brigham Young or something, or what's the one, a famous one in Boston. The famous research hospitals in Boston and Minneapolis, Johns Hopkins, all
Baltimore.
Yeah, and a lady would call and say, my son is thinking about, we want to help him change genders, and we're wondering if you have a program. He says, and the girl on the phone being interviewed on the phone from the hospital says, oh yeah, we have a special adolescent gender switching section, and what we do is we first set you up with some psychologists and doctors, and we can provide some gender changing drugs first, which we think is the first best step. And the mother says, well, but can you actually do the surgery there? And she says, how old is she? She says 14. Well, yeah, but under special circumstances we can, if we meet with a doctor. Anyway, they're describing how they're willing to change the gender of children if the parents say it's okay. And it was he had one example of a woman saying, well, if your son is, I think the kid was 9, the girl lying, saying my son is 9 or 10 and is concerned about his changing his gender, and they were willing to start giving him drugs. I mean, you've got to be, I can't believe this.
You can only hope that these poor kids, and there's so many of them, the stories are coming out about they want to detransition after their lives have been ruined. I can only hope that at some point they kill their parents.
I mean, it's forever.
They're
literally getting mastectomies at 14 girls. Tucker Carlson put the 10 members of the board of directors of one of the. Here they are, people.
Well, you have the doctors on TikTok laughing and dancing and doing songs and routines, showing the services they do, and then they show the poor little girls with these scars that they'll have for the rest of their lives. So let's add the doctors to the parents thing too.
It's freaking devils, man. I mean, it's the devil's workshop. Coming up, I want to talk about how more hate against Republicans and basic Americans. Also, Stakey, the Kool-Aid monster, got caught once again, and our former idiot mayor. Plus, the former royals are getting roasted in Britain as we move along. Also, I definitely want to talk a lot of sports stuff to talk about here, so I want to get moving. Another bragging about some of our sponsors here, including Swap My Whip. You're driving along, you see a car you've always wanted, maybe a few years old, and you think, man, I've always wanted that car. I wonder if I could ever find one. Well, guess what? Go to swapmywhip.com. Whip is colloquial for a ride. Swapmywhip.com. And you may well find like-minded car owners. Don't have to deal with dealerships, used car salesmen, middlemen, people who are saying, hey, I've got this for a car. What do you have? Maybe we can work out our own swap-a-rooney thing. What a great idea. I mean, think about it. And all you have to do is just check it out. Probably you might find something you think, oh, my God, I forgot about I've always wanted one of those Camaros or whatever it was. I mean, what a great freaking idea. Swapmywhip.com. And avoid all the nonsense and middlemen and stuff. And it's not just cars. Trucks, boats, jet skis, off-road vehicles. I mean, check it out, swapmywhip.com. And don't forget, if you use the coupon code KIMMER, K-I-M-M-E-R, it's 180 days of free premium listings on swapmywhip.com. What a great idea, swapmywhip.com.
Yeah, here's a headline in the New York Times. More trans teens are choosing top surgery. That's what they're calling it, top surgery, which means they cut the breast off. And they have one of these...
top surgery? That's
top,
what they... Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah. And they have a doctor here, that's always these good-looking young blonde doctors.
Yeah.
And she has a sign on the wall, of course, has Black Lives Matter and all the woke little symbols and slogans there. And we'll also cut your dick off, and we'll also cut your tits off.
I mean,
for money, of course. For money.
I mean, there are some things that are just so wrong.
Have you heard about that girl, Chloe Cole?
Yeah, I'm following her on
Is
Twitter now.
that yeah? So MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, had a press conference, and she transitioned when she was a child, and she talks about the regrets and how she regrets doing it and how she never should have done it. And
how could it ever be allowed? You have the right to say no. You're not 18. If you're 18 and you're still an idiot, you can do what you want, but it'll be legal unless we find you're mentally insane and we'll go to a court to try to get you declared. Yeah. But generally speaking, all you have to say is no. You're not 18. You can't do it until you're 18. Period. And parents, you can say, golly, I'd love to have you chop off your breasts, honey, but you got to wait till you're 18. Can you just wait till you're 18? I don't know, maybe, take up a hobby or do something different or learn how to
How about being a lesbian?
Yeah, you could be a lesbian. How about just changing your whole sexual give it a try. See how you like sodomy
where
instead
are
of
the gay
sex.
groups? They are literally ending gay people by doing this.
And again, it's not real. I mean, it's not. You have to make it happen.
It's a mental illness.
It shouldn't be. It should never be. You could just say, "I'm sorry, 18 is the rule," and then you're still gonna have a problem when they're 18. But then at least they have the right to do it.
Then you'll know what you are. Yeah. You'll know whether you want to be this or that or what sexuality.
And as long that's still the law, until you're not an adult to be able to do adult things until you're 18.
Elect me, and that's
going to be the law. And if you can go to war and kill or be killed, then you ought to be able to have your boobs cut off if you want to. And drink a beer, but they won't. Usually that's what used to go across the state line.
You can't drink a beer, but you can cut your blanks off.
Yeah, or get killed, in combat, But you can't have a beer to celebrate. Or rent a car. You can't rent a car for 7 years after you've killed somebody in the Marines. No, I mean you're allowed to kill somebody to be killed when you're 18, but you can't rent a car till you're 25. And murdered by a Democrat political activist to kill somebody because of his political beliefs.
The latest is that there really wasn't all that politics going on that he was just mad at it.
Right. Well, but that makes it even worse that he actually said those words though, which means he made it up, which means it was in his head. Where did he get in his head that he could use the excuse that he would have the ability and the legal excuse to kill a teenager because the teenager was a threat because Joe Biden said so?
The president told me.
Ta-da! It's even worse that it wasn't true. Because it means he had in his head, he already had the excuse that it was legitimate. It's a reason to kill somebody. Is because what these Democrats have been saying, including Keisha Bang Bong Bottoms.
So that's
what's that?
So that's first-degree murder.
It's premeditated murder.
Yeah.
Intent.
No matter what. And as far as I'm concerned, President Pedophile should be charged as an accessory to murder. He should be impeached immediately, and same with Carmela and the whole bunch of them. But anyway, again, Keisha Bong Bottoms, the failed Democrat leader of Atlanta that let the city burn, let the riots happen, the Rayshard Brooks case, she said, oh no, let him take care of Wendy's. Remember she said, let the people stay there and protest because that'll be a lot safer if we just let them have their way. Of course, then they murdered a little girl while they were doing that, burned down the Wendy's, but that's really no problem.
Atlanta.
Yeah, it's Atlanta, which now has a higher crime rate than Chicago. Have you heard that again? Atlanta has a higher crime rate than Chicago. I love saying it because you should know this. Don't come here. I mean, don't. I mean,
don't
really.
come here. No.
Anyway, so Bong Bottoms, the failed mayor, who was so bad, like Pete mentioned, she quit before her term was up, saying, "I'm not running again. By the way, I can't take
She's
this."
a quitter.
Yeah, she destroyed the city, and now she's trying to destroy America. She got failed up as to become a White House advisor because she clicked off that she was black and female. She is now continuing the Biden pattern of attacking Republicans, claiming that we are a threat to the country. She said Democrats and Republicans and independents should all be concerned about this threat by MAGA Republicans that give no consideration to the rule of law, no respect for a woman's right to choose, want to defund the FBI. We want to get rid of the FBI and start over. She said there's a MAGA Republican agenda that thought it was okay to attack our nation's capital January 6th. Honey, if that was an attack, you have no idea. We think it's important for all of us who care about the United States to call out what we see. What we see is this agenda to disrupt our democracy. It'll be important enough to call out any effort there is to destroy the United States of America. President Biden's been clear about wanting to work in an effort to blame Trump supporters for claiming we have no agenda, that no respect for the Constitution, for free and fair elections. It's important that not just me, for all of us to call it out for what it is. It is a danger to our democracy, and the Republicans are a danger to our way of life.
Danger.
Kiss my ass. Come and, all right, if I'm the enemy, you know where. Come and get me. I swear to God, I get so freaking mad about this. They're calling me the enemy.
I know.
I mean,
We can start acting like one too.
I'll tell you, I mean, I can't believe it. And they're doubling down.
Think your little FBI is going to stand in your way?
The FBI.
They really think their little FBI is going to fix things for them.
Well, let's talk about this. I was going to save this to the end. Another quick mention. I wasn't even going to say it, but it happened again. Dozens of FBI agents stormed the house of a very well-known Catholic activist his name is somebody Houck, something or other, Ryan Houck, and he's a Democrat. Or he's a Catholic activist, and he goes to abortion clinics and tries to talk people out of it. Well, one time he went to an abortion clinic. He's in Pennsylvania. Went to an abortion clinic. One of the abortion guys at the Planned Parenthood got up in his face and was rushing him and got right up in his face. So the guy pushed him back, pushed him away. The guy who charged the Catholic fell. Okay, so the police came. He was arrested. The DA says, no, we're not going to charge him. So the charges were dropped. Nothing ever happened. There was nothing about it. Nobody else did anything. The guy didn't sue, da-da-da. All of a sudden, the FBI storms this guy's house with as many as 30 heavily armed FBI agents for this pro-life author and well-respected Catholic leader with weapons drawn. His wife says they had big, huge rifles pointed at Mark and pointed at me and pointed throughout the house. The kids were all just screaming. It was a complete nightmare. It was very scary, very traumatic. They have an open staircase, so the kids were on the top of the staircase crying and screaming as the FBI agents with guns pointed at them were screaming and yelling, surrender, surrender, you're under arrest. The whole business, what they did, because some guy confronted his kid outside an abortion clinic.
I don't know what they're worried about. They didn't have their fingers on the trigger.
Right. Mark, Mark Houck pleaded with the FBI agents before he even opened the door. He said, please, I'm opening the door, but my kids are in the house. I have 7 babies in the house. The agents screamed and yelled, pointed their guns at the children, instructed them to go upstairs. The kids were screaming. It's very traumatic. And the wife says, wait a minute, have you got a warrant? And the guy says, well, I got one in the car. He says, well, then you're kidnapping my husband. So the FBI agent had to go to the car and actually get the warrant. He said, we're going to take him whether they have a warrant or not. They accused him of kidnapping her husband. They presented her with the first page of the warrant, which showed he was charged with the FACE Act, which is standing in front of someone. If you block someone at an agency, you're interrupting their right to do their business, and it's a federal freaking crime. So the FBI, now the FBI claimed this was at 7 o'clock in the morning. So it's, dusk or dawn, it's dark and nothing, and house is just waking up. Okay, 7 o'clock in the morning. The FBI claims, oh no, they've got it all wrong. There were not 25 or 30 agents. There were 20. There were only like 20. And as soon as he was arrested, they stopped pointing their guns. So so let me get this straight. So 20, I'm sorry. I hate these freaking Nazis.
I hate them all.
I hate them. I can't believe the FBI agents would do it. Again, the charges against him were dropped. He was not charged. But this crime became a federal case under the FBI. Why did the FBI and Merrick Garland decided to make this a federal case out of it? Gee, I wonder why. Especially, and the FBI defends it by saying, well, as soon as he was in chains, and by the way, they chained him in the waist so he couldn't even move his hands. Because he was so dangerous in front of his children.
Remember when this happened 2-3 years ago in Canada, and we go, well, that couldn't happen here?
That's right. Now you don't have a right to defend. You have a gun in Canada.
Read your book of Revelation. Yeah. This is all been written before.
And one more point about those FBI agents. Let's all remember, the FBI, as far as I understand it, has not made one single arrest in all those fire bombings and the bombs and damage that they caused at the pro-life headquarters and clinics. Not one arrest. Nobody's been, sacked out of their house in chains for firebombing that guy's property. I mean, this is just, if you don't think this is a one-sided attack by the FBI, how is it possible that you FBI agents are storming out of the building saying, I can't do this?
They're getting paid good money. We're paying them good money to do this.
It's wrong in every way. It's wrong in every way.
They're just like
a disgrace.
When they caught the Germans, they said, why did you do it? We were just following orders.
Yeah.
That doesn't, not since Nuremberg
Right.
does that work, FBI.
Right.
And there will be a reckoning, and it'll be your asses on the line.
Yeah. I mean, it is so clearly one-sided. Again, the charges were dropped. He was not charged with a crime for defending
Catholic.
his 12-year-old son.
His crime is that he's pro-life and he's Catholic.
Yeah, and his son, 12-year-old son, he was protecting his 12-year-old son from this guy charging him and pushed him.
The other thing, Protestants, Jewish people, Hindu, Sikh, what Muslim, whatever, if you believe in your God and family and country, these people are the Antichrist types.
Well,
we got to join together. We shouldn't be fighting amongst each other. They are the enemy, not us.
Over the weekend, Hillary Rodham P. Sticky Fart Cabbage was on TV saying, well, now, we saw the Trump rally the other night, and all those Republicans, she said, it reminds me of the Hitler rallies. It reminds me of Hitler when all those people in the crowd were raising. Oh, yeah, we have a little soundbite of Hillary Rodham P.
It's
Sticky
a prayer
Fart
thing.
Cabbage.
It's not a...
Yeah. No, I'm sorry, Pete. We're all Nazis, and it's a Nazi salute listening to Trump. Here she is.
I remember as a young student, trying to figure out how did people get basically
drawn in by Hitler. How did that happen? And I'd watch newsreels and I'd see this guy standing up there ranting and raving and people shouting and raising their arms. I thought, what's happened to these people? Why did they believe that? We saw the rally in Ohio the other night. Trump is there ranting and raving for more than an hour, and you have these rows of young men with their arms raised. I thought, what is going on? So there is a real pressure, and I think it is fair to say we're in a struggle between democracy and autocracy.
You know, I hate her. I hate.
You still
everything
lost
about
to him,
her.
bitch. You still lost to him.
They're
doing. There's a difference. You raise your hand in a prayer or something like that. New York Times is literally calling people who do this Nazis now.
Yeah. Don't you remember? You know, are you with me? Amen. Are you with me?
Yeah,
In
you
church.
raise your hand to the Lord.
Yeah.
You're not doing this. You're doing this.
It's not a Nazi. I mean, my God, I hate her. I really
hate them
her.
all to the point of ugliness.
I hate the fact that nobody's calling them out. How could nobody be? Bill Maher. Bill Maher is one of the few, sensible liberals who's saying, people are going a little too far here. But I mean, I can't believe it.
What they don't understand is that Hitler, history does this.
Yeah.
And when it swings back twice as far as it went the other way, every single time.
Well, we're ready. I'm ready.
Look what's happening in Sweden. Look what's happening in Italy. Look what's happening with the farmers' protesting.
They just had to vote on whether to allow farmers to use tractors or something. Do I understand
insanity.
this correctly?
They're killing the food
social
supply.
ESG business or something.
They're killing the food supply.
Jeez, people, what are they thinking?
They don't think we're not going to take these 400 million guns and go get the food. They think they can buy all the farmland in Middle America and then put a fence around it and have their FBI agents stand there, and that's going to stop us?
Isn't Gates buying up all the...
that and the Chinese.
And the Chinese
you think
are
that's
buying
going
up
to stop us?
all the farmland.
You ever heard of nationalization? How about peopleization? We just go and take it. Who's going to stop us? The little FBI pussies?
I'll tell you. I mean, I think we're in big trouble. God, I've got so much stuff here to talk about today. Just see, and I've
if we're in a list by now, we're gonna be.
I know you saw this too. Our friends at the Babylon Bee and our correspondent Mike Hunt finally caught Stakey Abraham. She now claims that obesity is just numbers manufactured by her bathroom scale. I don't know whether you saw the story, but she says in the same way that the patriarchy invented sonograms with fake heartbeat sounds to force women to fall in love with their unborn children against their will, bathroom scales were also created by the patriarchy to control women's bodies, said Stakey. Obesity isn't real, but a system of oppression. It's time to dismantle it. The incumbent governor, she's the governor of Georgia, incumbent governor's remarks are already being praised as so brave and super scientific by members of the body positivity movement who have not yet succumbed to diabetes and heart disease. By the way, continuing, there are 8 ways now, besides heartbeats, that women are tricked into thinking babies are alive. Yes, 1, baby pictures, an obvious ploy to maintain the nefarious lie that all living humans started off as babies. What a crock. 2, morning sickness, another brilliant construct of the patriarchy, where men secretly add small amounts of poison to a woman's daily coffee. 3, ultrasound videos, all those things showing babies responding to their voice are deep fakes. 4, weight gain. 5, genetic testing. The field of genetics is a complete fraud. 6, feeling the baby move. Nothing more than Taco Bell you ate for lunch. Crying when the baby is born. Ha! That's the sound of the nurse weeping because of how ugly a little blob of cells is. It goes... A couple of other quick headlines from our friends, by the way, as long as we're on it. In a continued push for gender neutrality, Air Force has now removed all the flight control sticks from planes because they look like penises, apparently. White House promises to walk back Biden's statements once their code breakers decipher them. White House staff to fit Joe with a jingle bell collar so they can find him when he wanders off. Anyway, just for the record. One more thing about our friends from... former friends from the royal family. In fact, there have been a lot of articles, and I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it, but there have been several articles recently, over the last several days since the Queen died, about what King Charlie is going to do now, whether he should welcome them back, the Harry and Meghan, back into the royal family's arms, give them an opening, see what, there's kind of talk about what the future holds for the issue of the royal family. Well, apparently, Prince Harry and Meghan are not too well remembered by their team over in England. The former staffers who worked on their Harry and Meghan's team before they stepped down as senior royals, the staffers called themselves the Sussex Survivors Club because of the difficulties in dealing with them. The Duchess was called a narcissistic sociopath. One guy writes that Kensington Palace was in a panic after Meghan abruptly left a 15-minute meeting at a marketplace in Fiji for a project to help women that was run by a group of UN women. Meghan left after a few minutes, claimed it was because of crowd issues. Later emerged she didn't want to be associated with those UN women. She said, "I can't believe they put me in this situation," prompting a staffer to call her nuts. And the situation insane. Later, the Duchess was seen in a car crying when they drove her away. She was rushed from the marketplace. I mean, what a high maintenance. I mean, oh my God.
Talent.
She said she felt suicidal in her first years of her marriage.
Shame.
Yeah, poor princess, poor rich
There's plenty
actress.
of ways to deal with that.
Princess. Even her most heartfelt pleas for help were part of a deliberate strategy to leave royal life, they said. Everyone knew the institution would be judged by her happiness. The mistake they made was thinking that she wanted to be happy. She wanted to be rejected because she was obsessed with that narrative from day one about being rejected by the palace. They were played by the Duchess. No one knew what to do with her alleged bullying. When someone decides not to be civil, they have no idea what to do. They were run over by her and then run over by Harry. They saw them as bureaucratic. Harry used to send them horrible emails. I mean, it goes on and on.
Well, she saw how popular Diana got by bucking the Buckingham Palace, and that's what she wanted to follow.
I don't even know if I think it's just her personality.
I think she's a rolling bitch on wheels too.
I mean, she's just a freaking handful. I mean, she's
with a snapper that that works for him. I guess.
Well, you must do something well.
Kimmer Reads, brought to you by FarmhousePrintingCo.com. That's right, FarmhousePrintingCo.com. Any kind of shirt or hat or sign or promotional items, no minimum order, none. You can do a 1 or 1,000, doesn't matter. No setup fees. They got laser engraving for all the really big stuff. Oh, it's good stuff. The small stuff too, leather goods, whatever. It's FarmhousePrintingCo.com. All your Kimmer show needs, all your Holy Crap and Sports needs, whatever you need, FarmhousePrintingCo.com.
We love these people, and I've got a whole bunch of things I'm ordering from Eric and the gang up there at FarmhousePrintingCo.com too. A couple of things again. We're going to talk sports here in a second. Nurse Ratched died at the age of 88.
Shame.
Louise Fletcher, best known for playing the villain Nurse Ratched in the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest from 1975. She was 88 years old, died at her home in Mondrelas, southern France. It says no cause of death. She was 88, for God. No cause of death. 88.
She stopped breathing, I think.
Yeah, jealous husband or something. I don't know. She played Randall McMurphy, who played by Jack Nicholson. Will Sampson was in it. Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd were patients. It was a Milos Forman film.
Brad Dourif was in it, too.
Yep. It swept up the Oscar awards, all the categories: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Screenplay.
It's a hard movie to watch.
Hard movie to watch. And Fletcher said when she won her Oscar, she said, "I loved being hated by you." and again, really, I mean, she was in a whole bunch of things after that, but she was known for
much
that.
of what she did besides that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
still.
All right, I'm going to move right along. A couple of quick sports things here, Pete. Well, first of all, you Holy Crap of Sports, best sportscast podcast in America, coming up a little later on today. They fired Collins, the coach, and the AD at Georgia Tech football. Any surprise there at this point?
It should have done it 2 weeks ago. Should have done it after Ole Miss came in here and shut them out.
Two quick things here that are in here that I wanted to mention.
We gave up 27 points to Tulsa at home, but we shut out Georgia Tech here.
Yeah. I won't mention the kid's name because he's having enough trouble as it is. There's one of the defensive starters for the Georgia Bulldogs in jail for DUI.
mention his name.
But here's what happened. 4 o'clock in the morning.
What happened was
4 o'clock in the morning. All right. He was pulled over by UGA police, so he knows where he is. 4 o'clock in the morning on campus, charged with 5 offenses: no license, improper turn, no maintain. He was all over the lane, dialing and talking on a cell phone at the time, and no headlights. I mean, okay, so you have no headlights. You're on the phone. You're swerving, swerving and sweeping, or whatever they call it, and no license.
Cameron, this is all part of his NIL deal. He got permission for all of this.
Apparently. And I mean, what are you thinking?
An idiot.
I mean, how stupid can you be?
Well, he's got to be higher than a kite. He's got to be.
But jeez, I mean, I know his alcohol content was 0.02.
I thought he was carrying
But
too.
well, no, if you're under 21, you break the law. And he's under 21, so no matter what his take was on a DUI thing, it's DUI. Yeah. It's a jailable offense. Take it right to the clink.
Gosh, he may be suspended for an entire quarter. This.
Yeah, he probably missed a couple of series. Anyway, I mean, I only mentioned it because that's just stupid. That's
just a dumb
I mean,
kid.
if I mean, 4 o'clock in the morning with no headlights and you're weaving. Anyway,
Son, fat, drunk, and stupid. There's no way to go through
yeah.
life.
And one last
that
thing.
supposed to mean?
How do you feel about Rihanna doing the halftime show at the Super Bowl?
Who gives a shit?
Well, at least they have someone we've heard of.
Well, but here I'd forgotten. I mean, I don't.
I mean, remember
I know
last
the
year it was
name,
all
but-
the old rapper guys.
Yeah. I mean, but again, you're never going to see the Beach Boys and the Johnny
Well, they're
Cash
almost
singers
dead.
or something.
No, we don't
Yeah.
see them.
Can't really.
What
have
would
them.
be? I mean, I guess what would be a cool like the Foo Fighters? Pearl. I mean, what would be a good rock
I've
show
never
today?
enjoyed it. I've never watched a halftime show because I don't care
they're
about
stupid.
watching.
You know who the Prince did a great
Yes,
one.
that
Prince did a
that
great
and Paul McCartney were the last 2 real good ones.
Well, I mean, I don't watch the Beatles or the Stones or
The Who
somebody,
did
but-
it, and
Yeah.
Tom Petty did
Yeah.
it. Yeah, okay.
But I don't.
Didn't the Stones do it
Yeah,
once?
I mean, I'd watch,
think
and
so.
Katy Perry or something maybe, but actually I don't watch the halftime show. I have
Yeah,
never watched it. I have
Everyone
no
goes
interest.
and watches the commercials, and
Yeah.
that's it. No one cares.
Anyway, but
at least
reason I
she's
mentioned
talented,
The
you
reason
know?
I mentioned is because remember she turned down the 2019 Super Bowl. She said no. And the reason it was headlined by Maroon 5 ultimately, but she was asked to do the 2019 Super Bowl, and she said no because she supported Colin Kaepernick and his kneeling and his disrespect for America. So screw you, Rihanna. You can
Well, I want to watch it anyway.
eat me. Yeah. Anyway, there's your sports section
No,
for
she's
today.
got a face that looks like a pug that someone had just smashed her face in.
Aye,
She's
aye.
cute, but she
That
ain't
would
good
be
looking.
Chris Brown,
Yeah, Chris
Yeah,
Brown probably
after
did
that.
Yeah, you're right.
and he's huge
Did
right
you,
now.
By the way, did you get the bad text I sent you? Possibility from Mike Summers, my buddy. I
we're
sent you?
reviewing. We're reviewing.
Okay, I'm
Right to it. The thing about the bad text, though, we want one that you don't know because then you laugh.
Okay, well,
if you know it's coming,
well, but I've forgotten it by
none
the
of
time
us
you
laugh.
do it.
Okay.
have to
A
rewrite
couple
it.
of other sports things here. Don't I'm very late already. We got to. Are we
late?
late?
Yes.
No, we started at 1, right?
Yeah,
got
we're
a
over.
while,
it.
yeah.
We're
okay.
approaching 2 hours.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll start going. College football. Oh, it's amazing to me. I can't
Never
believe
after you.
I can't believe they still let him do it, and I love it.
What?
Florida State University, the guy on that Appaloosa or the Paint Pinto horse with the spear, and he has the horse rear up, and he slams that spear into the ground and canters off, gallops off, and I just makes me tingle, and I'm thinking, I can't believe they let him do it. A spear on horseback, galloping on the, I mean, just the whole idea. Break your neck, Steve
know.
Reeves. I mean, the spear. What if he hit the horse's hoof or bounced off a rock and slashed his, I mean,
rock?
oh, God, who
There's no
knows?
rocks out in the middle of
There
the
could be
field.
rocks in the field.
no
I mean,
rock.
I don't know. I'm just, if it's snapped from force
Oh, my
and to bring, I
God.
mean, I'm glad, I'm telling you, but I can't believe that America allows that to happen.
America? Who's the
Because
hell
of
with
these
it?
assholes running things in Washington.
It's a Florida State. That's not America.
Well, anyway, I love
I
it,
saw
but I can't believe
over the week. I forget which team did it. They have the turnover chains and
Yeah.
stupid stuff like that.
Yeah.
One team had a broadsword that they were waving around
Oh,
on
I
the
didn't
sideline.
oh
I'm
my-
thinking
a real
that's
one?
a really stupid idea. A real one.
mean,
It
like a
was just
steel.
a steel broadsword. I'm like, who
No,
who
that's-
okayed that?
No, that can't.
I mean, come on. Why don't you just give him a Tommy gun?
Oh man!
Spray the crowd.
A couple other things on sports that I mentioned. They're finally going to stop the Pro Bowl football game.
Thank God.
So that makes sense. Oh, I just got a message. I'll bet this is from my appointment for tomorroll. You have an appointment reserved for dear thing 1:30 p.m. Yeah, okay. There you go. A couple of quick sports things, which is nobody wanted to get hurt in the Pro Bowl game. Why would you? It was just stupid. I saw any comment on the Brady versus Rodgers, Green Bay versus Tampa Bay?
So it's what Ryan Clark on ESPN this morning said. I would rather watch Vandy play Wake Forest. It was boring as hell.
Well, I couldn't believe there was.
Well, we didn't get to see it.
Yeah,
we had to watch the Falcons and Seahawks.
I had to go to Red Zone.
Red Zone. See, I don't have Red Zone. I had no place to go. I was forced to watch the Falcons.
I know. I can't.
And we won.
Yeah, and I can't believe it. And I just. But anyway, I thought.
I don't
thought
get
there
to
was,
wear this T-shirt much, so.
But again,
because it makes me look fat.
But again, the ending. I mean, the end of Brady versus Rodgers, and it came down to
It came down. They couldn't get the playoff in
Yeah.
time, and they were backed up 5
twice
yards.
Actually. He actually
Stupid.
twice, but he only got caught
How does
once.
that happen?
Because they.
didn't
shouldn't ever happen.
What
Especially
happened-
since they know what they're going to do.
I know. It's just stupid.
What happened at the end of the Bills game?
The Bills game.
Oh,
you see
God.
the
Ken
the-
You
Dorsey,
see that guy in the coach in
coordinator
the
lost
The-
stairs?
he should have been mad because they were having heat stroke out there, the Bills, because
Yeah.
they keep them in the sun the whole
Yeah.
time. Texas used to do that to their
Yeah.
opponents. They'd keep them in the sun the whole time, and they wilted. And Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, just picks up the tablet and slams it down, and then he throws his headphones down and screams and hollers. I mean, it was pretty damn funny.
Yeah, very, very, very funny.
Because he was up in the shade the whole time. It
Yeah.
was literally over 100 degrees. They were wilting.
There was one game I was watching. I forgot which one it was, where the ref got it exactly wrong. In other words, he said penalty, defensive holding, 5 yards, automatic first down. Excuse me. Hold on a second. Oh. Offensive holding, 3rd and 15. I mean, it was complete. I thought, oh my God, how embarrassing is that? What I meant was.
Well, there was another game that Tim Brando was doing. I think it was Washington State and Oregon, where the refs on the field forgot what down it was. They skipped a down. And 2 plays later, they called down from
realized it?
above and said, no, you got to do it over again. And
went back
Brando
to
and them
what
were going, wait a minute, you can't stop after 2 plays have gone by. But the rule is,
I wonder what the
if
rule
you
is.
miss a down and you catch it before the other team gets the ball back,
Oh, okay.
you
Well,
can,
that makes
you can
sense
go
then.
back.
That makes sense.
But still, do you count those
It's
plays?
a do-over. No, not in the
You
record
count
book
the
either.
yard?
I wouldn't think. I don't know.
No, you got to count those yards gained and everything. You gotta. I guess not.
I don't know. I don't know.
I guess not. But I'd never seen that before.
What a quandary. That's pretty cool.
And then I guess
Back in time.
you see
Also-
the Dolphins, the kicker.
Oh, it beat Buffalo.
And no, but I guess
discussed
did you
that.
see the kick like
Oh, he kicked his ass.
kicked his
ball into
ass and his
butt.
balls? Like there's a picture of the close up. I mean, right in the brain area.
That's
Ooh.
not good. Let's see. Oh, and one last thing. I just it's a nitpick, and I know it's a nitpick. I'm watching Sports Center. I'm watching AFL Network. I'm watching ESPN, and I'm watching the all the football things that the Howie Long guys and all of them. Every single one of those guys wearing a suit is wearing those stupid athletic shoes with the white soles.
Yeah, that's the thing now. I see that a lot. I see
Every one of them.
I see
and
that.
it's with brown, navy blue suits and brown shoes with the white soles on, the rubber white soles. Every freaking guy
Around the
wearing a
side.
suit, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's almost like white
they're
walls.
sneakers. They're dressy sneakers. They're the new dressy sneakers.
You
and they
see
have
that a
white
lot.
Sole.
Like you see that a lot with the business casual now. People coming into the office, they're wearing like slacks with more sneakers.
But these are all suits. Every guy wearing a suit on all the sports channels doing all the football stuff.
Comfortable shoes. What's the problem?
It's just wrong. It's wrong, I tell you.
So they're supposed to wear hard sole.
It's
and
wrong.
Stand on their feet for 3 hours.
Never going to be right. All right, hold everything. I have some really cool like history stuff, including, do you remember the name Lindy England?
No.
Lindy England. You'll remember as soon as I mention one reference to it. How about Melissa Sue Anderson?
I remember the name.
Anyway, how about the name Dead Crow Defense?
I remember
There's
that
a
one,
name
yeah.
to remember. Dead Crow Defense. Dead Crow Defense helped out Fonda the other day. Dead Crow Defense is not a gun store. It's not an ammo store. It's your personal arms dealer and your personal gun dealer working directly with you. If you can't find the ammo you're looking for, they've got it. If you can't find it at a great price, they've got it. Before the pandemic, they've been making sure they have all this stuff in stock. And when they have something in stock and you order it, they ship it the next day. They're not fooling around. It's like the old-fashioned customer service and the way we used to like to do things. And by the way, it's not just guns and ammo. Self-defense gear and stuff and things like that. Check them out. Look them up on the web, deadcrowdefense.com. I'm going to give you a phone number. Call them a second. If you want to look them up for when you're a sales deal, go to sales@deadcrowdefense.com, and your personal arms dealer will reach out directly to you, ask what you're looking for, see what you want, and they'll take care of it. That's what they do. Now, don't forget, when you go to checkout, use the promo code KIMMER, KIMMER, at checkout for 10% off your first several orders at deadcrowdefense.com. They got Flounder his 9mm, was it 9mm ammo? He couldn't, nobody had it.
That's correct.
Yeah. And they take care of business. Your personal arms dealer, Dead Crow Defense. Here's a phone number. Area 678-576-9117. 678-576-9117 or sales@deadcrowdefense.com.
Hey, well, you're not doing anything over there.
Yeah.
Could you turn Chewbacca from giving me the old evil eye there? He's just staring at me. It's a little unnerving. Thank you.
Did I give you that one? I've got one. I can't remember what.
Was it?
Yeah, Hangman gave me one too. I can't remember whether I gave that's one I gave to you or not. Sorry, Hangman.
that was pretty, the video looked pretty good there.
Quick question for you guys: with this Hurricane Ian gaining traction,
Yeah.
the
It's gonna
oil
be bad.
reserve,
Huh?
The oil reserve. Will this become Will this be an issue?
Well, if Louisiana, the biggest thing is if it goes west,
No, it's not going to go.
it's not going to go that. But if it empties Lake Pontchartrain,
No, it's not going to do it.
it
Who
goes to
cares
coast.
if it empties
Well, yeah, frankly, although it's a fun service, right,
Someone put it yesterday. They showed Jim Cantor is going to be in Tampa, and so is going to be in Tampa. And someone said, "This is not good."
if he shows up, it's over.
Cantor's there.
You got a problem.
so for
bucko.
the next 3 days in the weather chain, you're just going to see those idiots outside,
Yeah, I've been through one.
The best one ever was the video. I think it was England. The woman's talking, and this fish. This fish is blown out of the water and slaps up against her head.
I love it. A couple of birthdays of note. It would have been, or is, Olivia Newton-John's birthday. She would have been 74 today. Linda Hamilton, I just saw in one of her what do you call it?
She's in Resident Alien. She's the
Oh,
general.
that's right. She's what? Yeah. And by the way,
I haven't seen the last one.
okay, no, I'm
taped
back. I've got 3 to look at.
God, they're so fun.
I'm way behind. And she's a great little actress. Linda Hamilton from Terminator and what do you call it? Resident Alien. Resident Alien.
Resident
Alien. She's 66 today.
Looks it.
Excuse me. The hideous Serena Williams, 41. Kent McCord. Adam 12, one Adam 12. Kent McCord, who played Jim Reed. Kent McCord is freaking 80.
Kent McCord. That's
From
one of the
Adam
stiffest
12.
actors
He
that
was
ever
terrible.
lived. He was a
He
horrible
was a tall,
actor.
thin guy with good hair.
He had no range.
No, he was just a guy.
He had
was
the
a
range
cop.
of this Cheez-It
He
box.
just played a cop in a car.
And he just the whole time he just looked stupid. Okay,
one
I can
Adam
do that.
12, one Adam 12. See the man.
And Martin Milner would look at him like, "Are you that stupid?"
And Martin Milner, wasn't he the one with the black guy on Route 66?
They want a black guy.
Wasn't
in Route
that? And
66.
the black-haired guy.
George Maharis.
George Maharis,
Yeah.
who was
That's
more
Martin
of a
Milner.
theater guy. Martin Milner and Route 66.
Yeah.
And I never got to ride it on my Harley. And I got invited by some friends and never did it. I was going to take a Harley trip on Route 66.
We still do it.
Well, there's not much of it left.
It's got a little comeback going now. They say.
Well,
People are doing it for
you can
kicks.
start near Chicago and then you lose a little bit, but you can actually go pretty far toward
I'd start in
California.
Kansas. I think.
Yeah, you want to go
Hell
to
with
Chicago. Mary Beth Hurt
Yeah.
from one of those movies. The
What are those movies?
what was the one with the girl in the
know.
leotard that I wanted to
It had
live
film
with?
and all that.
Hurt. Bob Hurt.
Big Hurt.
John Hurt. What?
The Big Hurt.
The Big Hurt. No. The one where the reunion of the kids at the funeral.
Big Chill.
The Big Chill.
The Big Hurt's Frank
Yeah.
Thomas.
Anyway, she was in that movie too, I think.
Yes, sir.
Melissa Sue Anderson played Mary on Little House on the Prairie. Melissa Sue Anderson is 60. Jim Caviezel, 54. He kind of disappeared
Great
or something. didn't he? He's a
actor.
great actor.
He's a
Good-looking
great-
guy.
Very
great actor.
Christian. Very Christian.
That series he was in,
It's great. Oh God, what was the
can't
name?
remember, but it was a great series. The little guy with the glasses played his handler.
Yeah, basically, yeah, they went around.
The secret agent guy solving
helping.
crimes behind the scene.
That was a great show.
That
And
was
they
a great
wrapped it
show.
up very well too.
Yeah.
By the way, they ended it very.
54
what the
years
hell
old.
was the name of that
Caviezel.
show?
I can't remember. Isn't that funny? I can't remember.
It was a great show. I love that.
Jonathan Goldsmith is 84. I don't always drink beer, but when I do, Jonathan Goldsmith was the most interesting man in the world for Dos Equis. He's 84 years old today.
Beauty and the Beast for Linda Hamilton too. Remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right,
That
too.
TV show with that
The guy with the
asshole
big
Ron
head, the big
Perlman.
jaw, Ron Perlman. Oh, God, he's a
asshole.
freaky-looking scumbag. I have no idea if he's a
He is. He's a liberal scumbag.
Yeah, he's a liberal
And Danny
scumbag.
DeVito's a Satanist.
Yeah, what's the deal on Danny
That
DeVito?
cartoon that he's doing, well, of an antichrist, and it's totally anti-religious.
Yeah,
It's
I
making
don't-
fun of religion.
I'm
It's
not
like,
sure.
what the hell?
Yeah, I don't
It's like,
know.
how far can we insult religious people today?
Yeah, is
Let's
that-
do a cartoon about the Antichrist.
Yeah, is that fun? Is that funny or something? I guess
No.
I don't know. I don't get it.
So Jersey Mike's, I'm not. As long as you got him as your spokesman, I'm not eating your damn food.
Wow. 19.
Damn it! They just opened a shop down the road.
They're good sandwiches.
They're convenient too. But actually, there's a place called Lenny's. Lenny's Subs. It's almost the same thing.
Yeah, Jersey Mike's is great.
It really is.
Well, they give you enough meat. I mean, the last two I've had, my little friend Gretchen brought me a couple, months ago, and they have enough meat in them.
There's a Lenny's Subs right by your place.
Lenny's?
Yeah, you know North Point Parkway. You know where the racetrack is
Yeah.
and the Lowe's.
Yeah.
It's right where the Johnny's Pizza is, right there.
All right, we're never.
Oh, okay. I know
It's
where- I know
in
where
there.
you mean.
Anyways, it's check it out because it's just like Jersey Mike's. They
be
give you
there.
just the amount of bread and
Let's
everything.
don't skirt over the fact that Gretchen's bringing him the meat now.
She brings me every.
Shouldn't
once a
you
month,
bring
she
her the
brings me
meat?
Food. She says, "Well, I cooked. I'll drop yourself off on the way to work." And I come home and there's stuff. There's food in my. So I'm fine. I mean, oh my God, poor woman.
Did she climb through the window or the air duct?
I don't know how she keeps getting. I keep changing the locks. I don't freaking get it. 1960, the first televised debate between presidential candidates. Senator John Kennedy was the clear winner for those enormous TV audience viewers. Half the nation was watching the thing. First time ever it had happened. But Nixon got creamed on the TV audience because he had a 5 o'clock shadow. He had a permanent scowl. But on radio, he creamed him. People who listened to the radio said, "Oh, well, that guy, the Republican vice president, was the clear winner." In fact, in speech classes or communications colleges, they will teach this as one of the examples of how people look at things differently.
They also teach how Daley and the Chicago Machine stole the election.
Yeah,
for
right.
Kennedy.
Well, in fact, we'll talk more about it because on this day in 1969, the Chicago 7 trial begins. It's hard. By the
Shoot 'em
way,
all.
ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to believe, I know, but back then, there was an actual free press, and politicians used to allow the cops to arrest violent demonstrators. I know, you're killing me. You're killing me. Even though they were Democrats, demonstrators who burned and looted actually got arrested. They pulled out full-scale rioting at the Democratic National Convention. And back in those long-forgotten days, violent liberals actually used to stand trial for their crimes. I know. I know. I swear to God, I'm not making it. Pete, you remember? You were old enough. Remember?
I'm not old enough
Oh
to
my
remember
God!
that, no.
Instead of having actual political terrorists like Carmela Sidepiece bail them out and have everybody drop all the charges, all those people who rioted and looted and burned all those warehouses, nothing happened. The two lawyers who threw the firebomb into the police car got off with a minimal of anything.
Next time anyone lectures you about social justice, and you should be aware,
please.
that's social justice,
Yeah.
getting away with looting and pillaging.
Unbelievable. 1962, speaking of getting away with things, a black student named James Meredith tried to enter and register for classes at Ole Miss, but was turned away by Democrat Democrats and the governor named Paul Johnson. Since the Democrats were so dangerous and a threat to the republic, federal troops had to be called out to quell those angry Democrats who refused to allow the black man to go to school.
Two things. Now he's a huge Ole Miss fan, goes to the football games.
Right, yeah.
And second on that famous photo, Life magazine, of the sheriffs that were called in to kind of like oppose the National Guard.
Yeah.
And they're all standing around smoking cigars, and one of them's holding up a pickaxe handle.
Yeah, that's right.
The one across from him and staring at him is my great uncle.
It's your great uncle, yeah. And of course, I remember the first time I went to Underground Atlanta and with the T-shirt shop run by Lester Maddox, and he sold axe handles and redneck T-shirts. I mean, by the way, this is true for you. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Underground Atlanta used to be the Underground Railroad. I mean, it was Underground Atlanta, and it was a cavern. I mean, it was caves. I mean, it was. Well, I remember. It was dark and kind of mysterious. And the reason they shut it down is because all the gangs took over.
A little rapey and.
But yeah, I mean, but anyway, but it was Underground Atlanta was a huge tourist attraction of the way it used to
In the
be.
60s,
and one, among the shops was Lester Maddox's redneck T-shirts and axe handles, and that's what he sold there. And he would show you how to ride his bicycle backwards up on the handlebars for riding his fanny backwards on a bike.
That's
on
when
his
Atlanta
bicycle.
was cool.
That's why he broke his leg one time doing that. I mean, and he kept doing it when he had a cast on his broken leg. He rode his bicycle with his fanny on the handlebars, looking the wrong way back, driving backwards. Pretty funny. Let's see. I mentioned the name Lindy England. On this day in 2005, the Army Private Lindy England was convicted by a military jury court-martial for mistreating prisoners at Abu Ghraib prison. She got 3 years in prison. She served 1.5 years and was given a dishonorable discharge. I dated a girl once who had a dishonorable discharge. But there's some more about Lindy England. In an interview sometime afterwards, Lindy expressed no remorse. She said, quote, the Iraqis' lives are better. They got the better end of the deal. They weren't innocent. They're trying to kill us, and you want me to apologize to them? It's like saying sorry to the enemy. She was a focal point of the scandal because she was a woman, and partly because she was pictured in so many of those graphic photos, including one showing her smiling and posing with nude prisoners stacked in a pyramid, and smiling and pointing at a naked guy's dick while cigarettes dangling out of the corner of her mouth. I mean, I remember.
Probably shouldn't have done that.
I probably
In
shouldn't have done that
retrospect.
part there. She also had an affair with one of the male guards who was also arrested and thrown in jail. He knocked her up, wanted nothing to do with the baby, but she kept her baby and has her kid. 2 years after that, in 2007, Lindy got a job as a volunteer recreation board member in West Virginia. She was great. They loved her. She did festivals for charity. It was an unpaid position. But then council members realized, well, she was thrown out of the Army and she was at Abu Ghraib and she was a torturer, so they stopped paying her and she couldn't get a job and she closed to her. So she has her child and she's doing the best she can. But basically, she never apologized for it. As she should not have, and it was part of,
But you can't treat prisoners like that.
Well,
I mean, you're supposed to not do that.
right, that was wrong in every
There
way,
are some
probably.
standards.
Yeah, just shoot the bad.
But I like that she didn't apologize.
And
to
of
Ellen.
course she didn't apologize. They were the freaking enemy. Let's see. 1973, the Concorde makes its maiden flight from Europe to America nonstop across the Atlantic in half the time it used to take. 3 hours and 32 minutes at 954 miles an hour. That was 73. The commercial flights didn't start till 79.
The problem with the Concorde is they take off from London to land in New York, and by the time they slowed down, they were in Wisconsin. Hell of a commute.
It was a tremendous commute.
From Racine to LaGuardia.
1962. Jed Clampett loads up Granny and the gang after striking oil and becoming the Beverly Hillbillies. Struck oil for CBS.
What'd they call it?
Huge hit TV show, The Beverly Hillbillies.
It wasn't oil.
Struck Texas Crude, Black Crude,
Texas,
Black Gold,
Texas tea,
Crude.
Texas tea.
Texas Tea, Black Crude, Black Oil. Texas Tea, and then it was something else. Black Crude, I think is what they call it, Texas Tea. With Granny and Ellie Mae, who, by the way, was freaking gorgeous. Max Baer is the only one of all of them still alive. He is 84. He played Jethro. He's the son. He's going down to the Piedmont Pond, Grandma.
Millionaire, Las Vegas real estate.
Yep. Let's see. Elsewhere in TV, in 1964, same day, the 3-hour tour of the Gilligan's Island people began on CBS. Of the 7 castaways, only Ginger is still alive. Tina Louise is 88. Also on the same day in 1968, Hawaii Five-O premiered on CBS. Also the same day in 1969, The Brady Bunch premiered on ABC.
I loved Hawaii Five-O. Who didn't like Hawaii Five-O?
Book 'em, Dano.
Wait, I got something.
Let's see. 1963, the first steam eject launch of a Polaris missile at sea off Cape Canaveral, Florida. They fired the submarine launch in 1960, and again, it was my father, Gene R. Peterson, who developed the Polaris and Poseidon missile program systems and made them work for the Navy. Let's see. 1965, the Beatles meet Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II to receive members of the Order of the British Empire. 4 years later, 69, the Beatles released the Abbey Road album. The only other original album released by the Beatles was Let It Be on May 8th. May 8th, shortly after the Beatles announced they had broken up. And that is your history list from various things here today. Ta-da-ta-da, bam, boom, bam, boom.
All right.
All right, boys.
All right, let's get to the... Okay. Does the name Bill Wirtz mean anything to you?
The Wirtz family who owned the Chicago Blackhawks and
That's
the
right.
Oregon people, or Oregon company, I think.
On this day, Bill Wirtz died.
Oh, he did. In fact, somebody tried to set me up with his daughter, who also had a horse in Chicago.
You should have done it.
Yeah, and they tried to set, because I was single at the time, and they tried to set me up with his daughter.
You should have.
And I knew her. I saw her at the stable, at the barn,
This should
with
be
Ron
known.
Santos' girlfriend. That was that
Okay,
whole
yes,
crew
sir.
there. Sorry.
Sorry, I brought it up.
So, well, it was. It's,
No,
I mean, how
I
many
brought it
other
up because
people?
you said it last week. That's why I brought it up.
But think about it. You know,
I
how many
know.
other people ran into Ron Santo and the Wirtz's daughter and all
Yes,
this other thing
okay.
and the whole thing?
Today should be Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov Day around the world.
Petrov.
Russian hero. Why is he a hero?
Petrov.
Petrov.
Oh, I should know this. I know you know it. I don't know it.
I'm going to read it. Yeah.
Something with the Bolsheviks.
No.
Something. No, that would not be it.
On this day, Soviet military officer Lieutenant Colonel Stanislav Petrov averted a worldwide nuclear war by judging a supposed missile attack from the U.S. was an error.
Oh, my.
And it was up to him. And he
Do
says,
you want to play a game?
Yeah.
From the movie, but Matthew Broderick.
And he said, no, this can't be true. And remember, that was when tensions were high, Reagan and everything. Yeah.
Wow.
And he saved the world.
And now I've heard some people saying, well, you know, we need to downplay this ridiculous talk about nuclear weapons. You know, they're just saying, no, this is, you know, we shouldn't even be talking about that kind of. Oh, really? And China, you don't think China's, you know, chomping at the bit over Taiwan?
Guns of August, I'm telling you. So I told you last week I was starting to watching the Netflix show Dahmer.
Yeah.
Guess who's mad about this?
What?
The LGBTQ tag.
Oh, I heard about that. Oh, my God.
They put a tag on it
Yeah.
saying that he's gay. Well, guess what? He's gay. He wasn't
Yeah.
bringing young girls back to the
Yeah.
apartment to sodomize and cut up. They say this is not the representation we're looking for.
Gee, that's too bad.
And so Katrina says, I'm confused. Are the gays upset that he was gay or that Netflix didn't cover up that he was gay? I mean, he's bringing young black men and people
Yeah.
of color into his apartment,
Yeah.
having sex, killing them, and eating them.
Yeah,
There's no women involved,
right.
but you can't say he's gay.
Yeah, he was gay and a cannibal. So, you know, he wasn't just a cannibal, he was a gay cannibal. I mean, you really ought to differentiate.
Well, he checks all the boxes.
Well, it's not really fair to the regular cannibals. I mean, you know what I mean? Really, let's be honest. It's just not fair to the regular cannibals. Can you imagine eating some guy's face? I mean, you know.
Okay, I'm going to show you a
this
logo.
nose is
I'm going
delicious.
to show you a logo here.
Oh, God.
The logo is for the Office of the Director of National Intelligence on Aviation.
Wow, national intelligence.
This is a federal-
That's big time, Charlie. National intelligence and aviation.
That's the logo. Notice anything interesting?
Well, it's a rocket, and then a bent penis. Is that what the? I don't know. I don't get it. Oh, and then, Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Is that America? From South America through the northern continent.
Yes. Flounder, come here.
And then
He's obviously blind. He can't see see what you think. If there's anything interesting about this logo. He's looking at it as we speak. He's
obviously
looking
I missed something.
Yeah, it's easy to
like
miss.
It's like 3 rockets in a.
It's
taking
rockets.
off together.
It's rockets and planes.
And that,
What is that right there? I don't understand what that is.
No. The interesting thing that I'm pointing to here is this little
that
dot
boat
right
down
there.
or whatever.
That's a flying saucer.
Oh, no
They're
kidding.
putting a flying saucer on the official logo of a federal government
I thought
agency.
it was like a boat or something. I
No,
didn't even,
that's a
what
flying saucer.
Oh, well, that's ridiculous. Oh, my God.
They're
Well,
pretty
now
much admitting.
Well, they're saying, well, it's over. Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Well, then they just come out with it. I mean, and by the way, how many times now have we had the official final release to show all of the intelligence on UFOs? And they keep releasing more stuff, but they also keep saying, well, it could be something different. And they're still not telling us everything.
I know.
It's obviously from outer space. You can't tell me that no one would have leaked either in China or who's got the
It's
technology.
interdimensional. I think it's interdimensional, but maybe it's from outer space. You never know.
Well,
Mr. Potato Head made a very good point.
yeah.
All the changes that they're making in Hollywood with every white role, and they're making it a person of color.
Right.
That it's just laziness is what it is.
Yeah.
At least Tarzan will always be white. Why? Why is that? Why is Tarzan always
Well, because
going
he came
to be?
from Britain?
No, because Disney doesn't have the balls to put a black man on screen acting like a monkey.
Aroo, aroo,
Yeah.
swinging by
He acts like a monkey. He was raised by
vines from
apes.
tree to tree.
Yeah, he's raised by apes. Did you see the last one with Margot Robbie and the guy from True Blood, which was actually a pretty good movie, I thought.
Funny.
Okay, and D-Chap 1978 says he was watching a movie called It Came from Outer Space, an old black and white sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And
It was just on last night.
yeah, did you see the helicopter crop dusting service?
No.
The Pete Davis crop dusting service.
I was going to watch it, and I forget.
You
It was
should have
on
watched
right,
it.
It was on right after another space. It was like the night of space movies because of the moon shot, or because of the asteroid shot, I think. And it was after another sci-fi movie, I think. And I saw it listed, and it was like 1958 or something. I was going to watch it, and I forgot. I forgot to DVR it, too.
Maybe you should hire someone to help you out with stuff.
It came from outer space. It's like the Blob.
The Blob,
Oh, yeah.
the big them. Remember them?
That's-
With
yeah.
about the huge ants in L.A. That's one of my favorites. All right, it's time for Bad Text
Bad
Theater.
Text
So,
Theater.
are we going to do the one he sent?
Well, it was from Mike Summers. My buddy said, "Hey, it was just
Fine,
offering
we'll
a
do it.
possibility."
Have you got it?
I just send it along as a
It's
thank
putting
you,
a
Mike.
daughter and a dad.
Hold on, let me pull it up.
All right. That's what she said.
Are you going to be the daughter or the dad?
I'll be the dad.
Oh, all right.
Dad, I have a flat tire.
Can't you call your husband?
I tried. He didn't answer.
Do you have a spare?
He didn't answer either.
Ho, hi-oh. Tramp.
Please, I'm
Boys?
begging you. Leave these to the professionals.
We never actually got to whether you guys did any fun things over the weekend. Any fun other than football?
So last
watching?
night, Ole Miss won, the Braves won, the friggin' Falcons won. I'm going, and I have no ice cream in the house. I got no chocolate. I got nothing.
you always
And I'm
have.
sitting there going, God, I got to treat myself. And so I open up the fridge and I see it, a can of biscuits and wieners,
Oh, I love hot dog biscuits.
pig in a blanket.
That's right.
And I made me pig in a blanket, and I ate them sumbitches last night like I was
I
starving.
make those. I haven't had them in a while. In fact, I may do those this week. By God, I'm going to make some this week. I split them open and fill them with
cool.
cheese.
It's nice and cool in the weather right now,
Yeah.
and it's just.
But do you split the hot dogs and stuff them with
Sometimes.
cheese and then wrap them
Sometimes.
up with a roll? Oh yeah,
I was in such a hurry last night. I just threw them in there and cooked them and ate them as quick as I could.
It takes 12 minutes or whatever,
Oh my
and you
God,
got
yeah,
it dinner.
you're eating in 12 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Good
real
stuff
good.
with mayo,
Yeah.
some French's yellow mustard.
Oh yeah, whatever. Yeah, you know what I do? I put a plate and I put mustard on one part, ketchup in one part, and
Oh, no
mayonnaise in one
ketchup.
part.
No,
and
no,
I
no
dip
ketchup.
and dunk as I chew.
Hey, pigs in a
relish.
blanket.
Well, you dunk the way you want. You don't
put
put them
ketchup
all
on
on at the
pigs in a
same
blanket.
time.
No, you
you
don't
put
it's like a broth.
ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, and relish in little piles, and you
Okay.
dunk and dip as you choose.
How's the cat? Where's the cat doing? Well, he was.
We want to play with the kitty.
We'll play with the
We want him out here by Wednesday.
Go get your own damn cat.
play with your own damn.
Every time and by the way, get some video. We've seen a picture, but I haven't seen any video yet.
Did you?
What's that?
I put a video up this weekend.
All I saw was a picture of him standing up to the thing. It wasn't video. It was just a picture.
I'll double check, but I thought I posted a video because I took some this weekend.
Well, I hit it and nothing happened. Maybe it's just my phone, which wouldn't surprise me. Anyway, final thoughts, boys, till next we meet. And I'll
I have no
hopefully
final
have
thoughts.
my tooth fixed. And here we go again, and my ears. Anyway, whatever. Just
What will you talk
Maybe
about
not.
if they fix your tooth?
you know, trust me, I'm gonna talk about something. Anyway, look out! I gotta go. You're killing me. Hoorah! Supper 5. We'll be back again, God willing, and if we get lucky. I might supper with a thing. with
We're
the,
not getting lucky.
What do we call this again?
The Kimmer Show podcast?
I don't.
The Cheez-It Show.
Cheez-Its.